Chapter 4778. Was there something wrong with them? All of them were in high positions. How could they kidnap a girl whom they met for the first time to exchange for something from the Feng mansion? The reason they were able to use this method at the end of the road was obviously because they were at their wits' end. How could they be sure that the Feng mansion would give in for her? I heard that the Feng mansion has sent out all the secret guards to search for her. It seems that the Feng mansion really values this girl. Suddenly, a middle-aged man came in from outside and said happily. They all showed greedy smiles when they heard that. Yiqing Luo frowned slightly. She could see their expressions clearly from the light above her head. She felt a little uneasy. The next day, the Feng mansion closed the city and searched everywhere. Everyone was talking about it. But no one knew why the Feng mansion, which had been silent for so many years, made such a big move. However, there was no news for the whole morning. Patriarch Feng was so anxious that he couldn't eat or sleep. He had been thinking about it for a long time and finally saw his granddaughter. They had only eaten one meal. So he lost her. He was such a failure as a grandfather. Feng Shi sat next to the master of the Feng family sullenly, and her delicate little face was full of worry. Her big eyes were red, and it was obvious that she had just cried. Granny Feng walked in and saw the old and the young. She couldn't help feeling sorry for them. Yesterday, she was still thinking about it. No matter whether the girl was real or not, as long as it could make the old and the young in the Feng mansion happy, even if she was fake, she had to treat the girl as real. But she was happy for only a few hours. She was lost. Furthermore, she was kidnapped from the heavily guarded Feng manor. But the Feng mansion didn't know anything. Now they couldn't even find her. Granny Feng sighed and walked into the room. Patriarch, young Master Chongqing and Lord Flower King are here. Feng clan master's body stiffened. The face that seemed to have aged by dozens of years overnight slowly raised up. Yiqing Luo had mentioned it yesterday. She lived in the 100-flower garden and was brought to the divine realm by Flower King. Now they were here. Apparently, it was because of Yiqing Luo. He closed his tired old eyes and said, "Let them in." Granny Feng went out to invite them. Not long later, Feng Chongqing and Ji Wuhua entered the hall. When they saw Patriarch Feng, the two saluted. "You're here for Qing Luo, right?" Patriarch Feng heaved a long sigh. "It's my fault. Qing Luo had finally returned to the Feng family, but I let her go missing in my place." Feng Zhongqing hurriedly stepped forward and held Clan Master Feng's arm. "Clan Master, please don't be sad. If Miss Yi comes back, she certainly wouldn't want to see Clan Master so worried." Ji Wuhua collapsed on a wooden chair at the side. "I'm the unlucky one. I was ordered by the acting Divine Emperor to bring Miss Yi to see the acting Divine Emperor. Now she disappeared from my 100-flower garden and was taken away by someone in the Feng mansion." He covered his face. "How should I face the acting God Emperor so that I won't be beaten to death?" "Wuhua." Feng Zhongqing glared at Ji Wuhua in warning. The Feng family master waved his hand and said, "It's my fault. Don't blame the Flower King." He stood up slowly and said helplessly, "I'll explain it to the acting God Emperor. Don't worry." The man who was covering his face suddenly sat up. There was no sadness on his face at all. "You said it yourself." Chapter 4779. Feng Manor. There were only a few people in the Feng manor. Feng Zhongqing and Ji Wuhua's sight shifted to Patriarch Feng. Of course, they weren't doubting Patriarch Feng, but asking him if he agreed with this point of view. Feng Clan Master's slightly aged face stiffened slightly, and his face darkened. Indeed, if it wasn't someone from the Feng manor, how could it be possible to abduct Yiqing Luo, who lived in this courtyard which had long been prohibited from entering and exiting silently? Moreover, the other party must be extremely familiar with the Feng manor. Granny Feng, who was standing by the side, immediately knelt down on the ground. "Patriarch, I'm loyal to you and young master. I've been taking care of young master since young, and I know that he likes Miss Qing Luo. I will never do such a treacherous thing." Other than the two masters of the Feng manor, and the acting God Emperor, who rarely appeared in the Feng manor, the person in charge was her. Therefore, she was the most suspicious one. Patriarch Feng and the others all looked at Granny Feng. Ji Wuhua's lips curled up slightly as he leaned down with a faint smile. How can you prove that it's not you? Granny Feng's face turned pale. I dare to swear with my life that if I have any ill intentions towards Patriarch, I'm willing to be punished by the heavens. Ji Wuhua curled his lips. What's the use of swearing? Anyway, everyone in the Feng manor is a suspect. Enough. Patriarch Feng spoke in a low and cold voice. I believe in Granny Feng. Granny Feng's eyes were slightly red. Thank you, Patriarch. She had been following the Feng manor since young. She had been a servant girl all the way to her current position. She had never been disloyal to the Feng family. Now such a thing had happened. She understood why everyone doubted her. But, hearing Patriarch Feng's trust, she immediately felt relieved. As long as Patriarch and young master believed her, it was enough. Granny Feng, invite the Feng Manor's secret guards and guard captain here. Patriarch Feng's tone was dignified and his expression was solemn. Yes. Granny Feng handed Feng Shi over to Patriarch Feng and left. Feng Shi rarely took the initiative to hold Patriarch Feng's hand, and her big eyes were filled with tears. Grandpa, will Fairy Sister come back? I'll be back. Feng family's patriarch paused after every word as he held Tiny Tot's little hand. Qing Luo will be fine. When Yi Qing Luo opened her eyes again, it was already bright. Sunlight shone down from above, illuminating the dark room. Perhaps, to be more accurate, this was a dungeon. The environment was filthy and messy. There were no guards around. The middle-aged men from yesterday had also disappeared without a trace. But that's true if they tied her up like this. There was indeed no need to worry that she would run away. After all, there was no way to escape. Last night, a few middle-aged men confronted her for a long time. They didn't get anything useful out of each other. As soon as the sky brightened, the group of people hurriedly left. While they're gone, he had to think of a way to leave this place. Old Man Song, is there any way to break this iron chain? Yi Qing Luo asked in her heart. Old Man Song's tone was solemn. This is a special ice iron chain made by the God Realm to trap cultivators. Unless we get the key. Otherwise, if we use brute force to break it, it will cause too much fluctuation. It would also easily attract the attention of those who locked her here. Yi Qing Luo's pink lips pursed slightly. Chi-Chi and the rest can't bite this iron chain. Chapter 4780. The environment was dirty and messy. There were no guards around. Those middle-aged men yesterday were nowhere to be seen. But it was also they tied her up like this. And there was no need to worry that she would escape. After all, there was no way to escape. Last night, those middle-aged men confronted her for a long time. They didn't get any useful information from each other. When the sky was bright, a group of people left in a hurry. While they were away, she had to find a way to get out of here. Old Man Song, is there any way to break this iron chain? Yi Qing Luo asked in her heart. Old Man Song's tone was solemn. This is a special ice iron chain used to trap cultivators. Unless you get the key. Otherwise, if you use brute force to break it, it will cause too much fluctuation. It would also easily attract the attention of those who locked her here. Yi Qing Luo's pink lips pursed slightly. Chi-Chi and the rest can't bite this iron chain? I'm afraid not. Old Man Song sighed softly. Even the teeth of the sacred beasts can't bite the indestructible ice iron chain. Yi Qing Luo said. Am I going to be locked up by them like this until they are willing to let me go? The premise was that they would let her go? She felt that those middle-aged men had gone crazy. They said that they were going to report to the Feng residents that she was caught. But, until now, there was no news. Yi Qing Luo was wondering if she had been forgotten, right? Probably not. Old Man Song said. After all, your face is too similar to the Emperor of God. It's rare for the Feng family's patriarch to meet his biological granddaughter. How could he give you up? But I don't want to wait for grandfather to save me like this. Yin Jiao pursed her pink lips tightly and lowered her eyes slightly. For her, Feng family was extremely unfamiliar. But kinship came from the heart. Like her, when she saw the gray-haired old man Feng, her heart softened. Like old man Feng, even if he hadn't confirmed her identity, based on the kinship between both parties, He was sure of her identity. Old Man Feng's feelings for her were real. She didn't want to give the Feng family any compromise for her. On the first day she returned to the Feng family, a group of people in high positions would not hesitate to kidnap a strange girl like her as a hostage against the Feng family. It was enough to show that these people wanted to get something from the Feng family for a long time. That was why he had no choice to do such a thing. Yi Qingluo's eyes drooped as her heart felt heavy. Suddenly, a few sounds came from outside the secret chamber. A figure quietly approached the secret chamber. Yi Qingluo recognized that man. It was one of the middle-aged men she met last night. Cautiously, he scanned his surroundings. He then stepped into the secret chamber. Yi Qingluo frowned slightly and was about to get up. The middle-aged man, who had a gloomy and solemn expression that night, now revealed a kind smile. Miss, don't move, don't move. I'm here to help you." She moved. The sound of the ice chains was extremely loud. It was easy to cause agitation. "Help her?" Yi Qingluo narrowed her eyes as she sized up the middle-aged man. "Can you help me?" The middle-aged man walked over with a smile. "Don't you want to leave this place? You can get this key." Yi Qingluo lowered her head and glanced at the iron chains tied to her hands and feet. The middle-aged man nodded. "Of course." Yi Qingluo raised her brows slightly. "What conditions?" No matter how amiable the middle-aged man's smile was. Chapter 4781. The middle-aged man's smile became even more joyous, and with more sincerity. Amen, he was sincerely trying to coax this young lady. "As long as you tell me the whereabouts of the Phoenix Residence's treasures." He lowered his voice, as his tone became more bewitching. "I will let you leave this place, and guarantee that I will escort you to the Phoenix Residence safely." Yi Qingluo blinked her eyes, as her eyes curved, as her eyelashes rose. Her gorgeous face was secretly in a dilemma, as though she was pondering, should she believe his words or not? But moments later, the young lady's eyes widened, as she put on a serious expression. "I really don't know what you're talking about." The more Yi Qingluo said, the more the middle-aged man felt that Yi Qingluo absolutely knew. After several rounds of enticement, this confirmed his guess even more. But the young lady just insisted that she didn't know. After spending about 1 incense's time, the middle-aged man's brows were filled with a sliver of impatience and fluster. Probably afraid that the matter of him quietly coming to look for Yi Qingluo would be discovered by the other middle-aged men. The middle-aged man's expression sunk as he looked at the young lady who was stubbornly biting her pink lips, as he started to threaten her. "Young lady, you're an intelligent person. Don't tell me you want to be locked up here forever?" He took a step forward, as he stretched out his hand in an attempt to pull Yi Qingluo in front of him. Yi Qingluo was so frightened that she shrank backwards. The entire dark room was filled with the sound of iron chains dragging on the ground. It shocked the middle-aged man so much that he stopped in his tracks, as he gave a flustered hush to Yi Qingluo. He hurriedly took 2 steps back, not daring to get close to Yi Qingluo. Yi Qingluo pursed her pink lips, as though she was badly frightened, as her long eyelashes were still fluttering. Although the middle-aged man didn't get close, he continued to threaten her. "Young lady, those few people are not as easy to talk to as me. If you listen to me, you'll be good, I'll be good, everyone will be good. But," he gave a cold laugh, "their methods. You young lady will not be able to take it." Yi Qingluo bit her lips, as though she was pondering over his words, as she lowered her head slightly. After some time, she slowly opened her mouth. "What you said. Is it true?" When the middle-aged man heard that there was a chance, he immediately smiled. "How could I lie to you? I just couldn't bear to see such a beautiful little girl like you being defiled by those old men. So I specially came to save you. I'm a good person." The smile on his face rippled. This made Yi Qingluo's mind immediately conjure up an image. "Don't be afraid, uncle is a good person." Yi Qingluo's alluring eyes concealed all her emotions as she maintained her innocent and harmless expression, asking, "I can believe you, but you have to tell me specifically, what kind of precious treasure are you referring to?" Yi Qingluo's expression changed slightly. These people had kidnapped her and brought her here. He was using this to threaten the Phoenix Mansion to hand over the so-called treasure. She still didn't know what that treasure was. He planned to get some clues from the middle-aged man's mouth. Suddenly, a series of light footsteps came from outside the dark room. He tiptoed and was very careful. The middle-aged man's expression changed when he heard the commotion. His gaze swept across the surroundings. He immediately rushed to the haystack behind Yiqing Luo. He didn't forget to make a shushing gesture towards Yiqing Luo, as he immediately shrunk into the haystack. Yiqing Luo. Which dog thing disturbed her to get information? Chapter 4782. Outside the dark room, a man walked in carefully. Just like the previous middle-aged man, he looked around vigilantly. When he saw Yiqing Luo, he revealed the same kind smile. Yiqing Luo. She seemed to have predicted the reason why the other party came to the dark room. As expected, the second middle-aged man asked the same question as the first middle-aged man. The majestic haystack trembled. Yiqing Luo glanced at that person, pursed her lips and shook her head. I don't know what you're asking. The second person's temper was much worse than the first. After a few rounds of questioning, Yiqing Luo avoided answering. So she directly threatened. Just as she was threatening, another set of footsteps came from outside the dark room. The second person gave Yiqing Luo a threatening stare, and even made a neck-slitting gesture. Following that, he burrowed into the haystack. The haystack hid the second person's figure. After a few breaths, a sound was heard from inside. But after the third person entered the dark room, he stopped abruptly, keeping quiet. The third person was the same. He also came to ask Yiqing Luo about the so-called Phoenix Residence's treasures. Following that, it seemed as though everyone had agreed on it. One after another, almost all the 5 people who met last night lined up. The only hiding place in the dark room was the haystack, which was filled with people. When the last person stood in front of Yiqing Luo, a bam sound was heard. The haystack fell to the ground. 4 middle-aged men fell out. And the 5th person, who was standing in front of Yiqing Luo, smiling amiably, trying to dig out information from her mouth, looked at each other in dismay. When their eyes met, it was extremely awkward. You guys? Why are you here? The gazes they shot at each other were filled with suspicion. The 5 of them looked at each other for a moment. The 5th person seemed to have understood something, as he pointed at the 4 of them and shouted, "Good. Trying to find out the whereabouts of the Phoenix Residence's treasures behind my back." The 4 of them were unconvinced. As though you came here secretly, not for the Phoenix Residence's treasures. For a moment, the few of them were speechless. The entire screen was filled with an awkward atmosphere. None of them had expected that their thoughts would coincide with those of the others. All of them wanted to find out from Yiqing Luo's mouth about the treasures in the Phoenix Manor, and monopolize the treasures for themselves. Cough. Yiqing Luo was the first to break the silence. Listen to me first. The 5 of them simultaneously shot their gazes towards Yiqing Luo. The treasure that you're talking about. What exactly are you referring to? Yiqing Luo was also interested in that treasure. A crafty light flashed in her charming eyes. Since you all want that thing, why don't you let me go back to the Feng Manor first, and I'll find it for you? The second person's face darkened, and he immediately shouted, Do you think we're all fools? If I let you go, do you think you can come back? Of course there are conditions. Yiqing Luo rolled her eyes at him and continued. To be able to make you guys go crazy over a treasure, it must be extremely valuable. As long as I help you find that treasure. Her voice paused for a moment, then her charming eyes slowly focused on the people in front of her. I want to join you and enjoy the benefits of the Phoenix Manor's treasures. The young lady's pink lips curled up slightly, as she smiled sweetly. That pair of captivating eyes were filled with a scheming and crafty expression. The Feng Manor values me very much, and only I can come and go as I please in the Feng Manor. You guys probably can't even step into the Feng Manor's main door, right? Chapter 4783. The young lady's words made the expressions of the 5 of them congealed slightly. Undeniable. What she said was the truth. The Feng Mansion was heavily guarded, and the Feng family master was a stubborn person. Even if they had the chance to enter the Feng residence, the range of action was only the boundary of the guest hall. Not to mention searching for the whereabouts of the treasure. Even if they knew the exact location of the treasure, it probably wouldn't be that easy to get it. But this young lady in front of them, she looked innocent and harmless. One look, and they knew she was someone who could be easily grasped, if they could use her for their own use. She was indeed a help. The five of them exchanged glances, and saw the deep meaning in each other's eyes. Yiqing Luo maintained a sweet shallow arc, her long and narrow eyes were curved, hiding that smirk and ridicule in the depths of her eyes. If she promised herself to help them find the Feng family's treasure, they wouldn't believe her. But if she showed any other desire, help with a purpose, these people would naturally choose to believe her. Moreover, these people were certain that she had a pivotal position in the Feng residence. What she said was able to arouse the greed in their hearts. After all, they could find her alone to inquire about the whereabouts of the treasure. It was obvious that these people were all selfish. Yiqing Luo smiled lightly and continued to bewitch them. Since you value the Feng family's treasure so much, it must be something good. The five of you, after getting the treasure, you will split the loot. Adding me, it's also a split, isn't it? The young lady's voice was filled with a sense of complacency, full of a little girl's look. The few of them looked at each other in dismay. There was an ambiguous smile in the depths of his eyes. This young lady thought that the treasure they were talking about was the real rare treasure? Still thinking of splitting the loot. That thing couldn't be split. But this young lady didn't know anything, so it was good for them. After the treasure was in their hands, either give her something casually, or just kill her. The few of them exchanged glances and the first person raised a gentle smile. What young lady said makes sense. One more is one more then. That's settled. You're in charge of finding the location. We'll be in charge of getting it. Yiqing Luo nodded smilingly. Looking at the girl's innocent and harmless appearance, they didn't think that this girl could play tricks under their noses. Even if she was playing tricks, they had plenty of ways to subdue her. Since we've come to an agreement, can you help me remove these chains? Yiqing Luo stretched out both her hands. These chains are a little heavy. On the girl's fair arm, there was a circle of red marks from being rubbed by the iron chains. The first person pondered for a moment. He took out the key and unlocked it for her. Freed from the restraints, Yiqing Luo finally felt much more relaxed. She rubbed her reddened wrist. You eat this. The first person took out a medicinal pill and passed it to Yiqing Luo. The pill was about the size of a fingernail. It was brown and had a strong medicinal smell. Yiqing Luo stared at that medicinal pill as her brows creased slightly. What does this mean? Chapter 4784. The first man continued. Young lady, as long as you listen obediently and do what we tell you, I promise. I will give you the antidote once we get the treasure. Yiqing Luo grabbed that medicinal pill as a hesitant expression surfaced on her gorgeous face. She pursed her lips slightly. You won't lie to me? The five middle-aged men smiled amiably. We still need your help, and only you can help us. How could we lie to you? Yiqing Luo hesitated for a long time before she believed them. In front of them, she swallowed the pill into her mouth, until the young lady closed her mouth and made a swallowing action. Their eyes were filled with smiles. Little did they know, the moment the young lady raised her hand and put the pill into her mouth, the azure dew bracelet on her wrist had already absorbed the pill into the bracelet and directly passed it to Cauldron Dragon to analyze the effect of this pill. After Yiqing Luo finished eating the pill, the few of them let down their guard against her. As for them, even if Yiqing Luo had a close relationship with the Feng family, she was just a little girl. She was a greedy little girl who was ignorant of worldly affairs. People with greed and desire were easier to control. The five of them wanted to find out the news about the Feng family's treasure from Yiqing Luo's mouth, and then keep it for themselves. But at this time, the five of them were surprisingly united. After settling Yiqing Luo, the five of them discussed for a while. Then they led Yiqing Luo out of the dark room. Outside the dark room was a long passageway. It wasn't especially spacious. About the distance of 3 adult men walking together. 2 of them walked in front. Yi Qingluo and the first man were arranged in the middle. Behind them were 2 people. They surrounded Yi Qingluo tightly, not giving her the slightest chance to escape. Of course, they didn't think that Yi Qingluo would be so silly to escape under their eyes. Yi Qingluo's performance was obedient. Just like that, he followed behind them. However, her long and narrow eyes had a panoramic view of the surrounding environment. This passageway wasn't especially long. The 5 of them were discussing the location of the Feng family's treasure as they walked. Everyone's face was filled with a joyful smile. His tone was also very light. It was as if he had already sketched out the beautiful dream after getting the Feng family's treasures. Yi Qingluo walked on quietly. When they were about to reach the exit of the tunnel, her ears twitched. Her long and narrow eyes were fixated on the exit, and a strange fluctuation flashed past her eyes. He was getting closer to the exit. She became even more vigilant. The treasure of the Feng family must be in the most secret place of the Feng family. The third person guessed. Feng family has always claimed that their Feng family doesn't have that treasure. When the divine emperor passed away, the only person he saw was Feng family master. That thing must have been given to Feng family master. How about, after this little girl returns to the Feng family, let her quietly open the door for us at night, and let us enter the Feng mansion to look for her. The other 4 agreed with this statement. He didn't even ask Yi Qingluo a single question, and had already made up his mind so happily. A ray of light shone from the exit, illuminating the place. The sun was shining brightly, but Yi Qingluo could clearly feel that the surrounding air seemed to be swirling with a storm, which was extremely chilly and terrifying. As expected, Yi Qingluo didn't sense anything. After the 5 of them stepped out of the exit, all the complacency and smiles on their faces. At this moment, it had completely dissipated, leaving nothing behind. Chapter 4785. Caesar. The 5 of them trembled as they looked at the person standing at the exit. Their bodies were so weak that they almost fell to the ground. Yi Qingluo narrowed her eyes slightly, and looked past the few weak black-robed men towards the exit. That figure standing against the light. A black cloak covered him from head to toe. Only a pair of eyes that were as cold as a devil's. That man's imposing manner was terrifying. Even though Yi Qingluo was wearing that cold jade pendant, under that imposing manner, she couldn't help but feel a squeezing feeling in her heart. So strong. That black-robed man was several times stronger than these 5 middle-aged men. Yi Qingluo's heart was slightly lifted. In your eyes, do you still have this, Lord? The black-robed man's voice was deliberately changed using profound energy, sounding extremely sinister and cold. It was as sharp as a steel needle, piercing straight into the eardrum. The 5 of them were so scared that they immediately knelt on the ground, each of them trembling like a sieve. No, we don't dare. We pledge our loyalty to Lord. The black-robed man snorted lightly, full of ridicule. This Lord can't see your loyalty. The 5 of them knelt down. Yi Qingluo, who stood ramrod straight, was extremely eye-catching. The black-robed man's cold gaze faintly passed the 5 of them, and fell on Yi Qingluo. The 5 of them trembled as they racked their brains to find an excuse. She is just a young lady. I saw her pitiful, so I accompanied her, to go out to bask in the sun. This excuse was really far-fetched. But they had no other excuse to find. This Lord couldn't tell that you know how to be tender towards the fairer sex. The black-robed man's voice was even more sarcastic. That chilly gaze was still fixated on Yi Qingluo. The smile was vicious and chilly. The 5 of them trembled and could only bite the bullet to admit. Because she said if we let her go out to bask in the sun and relax, she will tell us the whereabouts of the Feng family's treasures. I thought. With the 5 of us guarding, a young lady can't stir up any waves. One of them turned his head over and gave Yi Qingluo a warning and terrified stare. Young lady, do you think? Are you the one who begged us to use the whereabouts of Feng family's treasures as an exchange condition? The 5 of them glanced at Yi Qingluo from the corner of their eyes. This young girl had eaten the pills they had fed her. If he did not obey, without their antidote he would definitely die. So, as long as the girl admitted it, they could then push all the blame onto the girl. Yiqing Luo's brows lifted slightly as her gaze swept past the 5 people who were kneeling on the ground and shivering. Her pink lips curled into a cold arc that seemed to be a smile, yet not a smile. Her long and narrow eyes were slightly curved, like ripples of water. Yes. The young girl's voice was clear and enchanting. She chuckled. It was me who wanted to come out. The 5 of them heaved a sigh of relief. Then they heard the young girl continued. But it wasn't me who begged them, but they begged me. Her slender fingers curled up a lock of hair which had fallen onto her shoulder as she smiled sweetly. They wanted to swallow the Feng family's treasures for themselves. I merely revealed a little, and they believed what I said. So silly. The young girl covered her mouth as she didn't conceal the ridicule in her tone. You're talking nonsense. The 5 of them turned pale as they had not expected Yiqing Luo to suddenly go back on her words. They stared fiercely at Yiqing Luo. We are absolutely loyal to Sir, you slut. Don't try to sow discord. Chapter 4786. Yiqing Luo's pink lips curled even more, as she couldn't be bothered with those 5 people. She raised her eyes slightly, as her vision fell onto the black-robed man. She met the black-robed man's gloomy gaze without fear, full of smiles, without any fluctuations on her face. You're not afraid of this seat? The black-robed man's eyes grew colder, as though it was filled with chilly intent. Yiqing Luo shook her fingers. You can't catch me, what should I be afraid of? So confident? The black-robed man seemed to laugh, that voice which had been changed by the profound energy. When he laughed, it sounded especially sharp. Do you think this seat will give you the chance to leave? Yiqing Luo's fingertips caressed her lower lip, as the arc of her charming eyes slightly raised, with some undetectable coldness. Her expression didn't change as she was very calm. Then why do you think I will give you the chance to stop me? The 2 of them looked at each other. No one was the first to leave their line of sight. The 5 people kneeling on the ground looked at this scene. Their hearts were trembling with fear. None of them had expected it. That young lady in front of them, who looked delicate and lovely, actually had such a strong aura. When she was entangled with their lord's aura, that slightly immature, devastatingly beautiful young face was actually not inferior to their lord at all. Simply, evenly matched. If they knew this young lady would have that kind of flamboyant self-confidence, that breathtaking aura which made one unable to take their eyes off, they would absolutely not listen to this young lady's words. Unfortunately, even if they regretted, it was already too late. The black-robed man's eyes were cold, as a ball of black fog spread out in between his pupils, as though a whirlpool was about to attack. Just as the black-robed man was about to make a move to capture the young lady's figure moved. The fiery long dress fluttered in the wind. In midair, a beautiful mark was left behind. The speed was so fast that it couldn't be captured by the naked eye. While the young lady was moving, she didn't forget to turn back, her long and narrow eyes curved, as the corners of her lips couldn't conceal the ridicule. On account of being a captive whom you have captured before, let me kindly remind you. These 5 dogs of yours really aren't obedient. The next time you choose dogs, you must choose correctly. Following the young lady's voice, that shimmering red had completely disappeared in front of his eyes. Within 100 miles, he could not sense the slightest trace of the young woman's aura. The 5 of them turned pale instantly as they looked at the direction where Yiqing Luo disappeared in disbelief. That young girl. How could she possibly escape under the Lord's nose? Why didn't Sir chase after them? Instead, he allowed the girl to escape. The black-robed man who received the astonished gazes of the 5 people. He wanted to chase after her and stop her. However, even he couldn't sense the young girl's figure before she disappeared in front of him. The black-robed man narrowed his eyes dangerously, revealing a hint of darkness and coldness. Teleportation secret technique. He murmured the words under his breath. It was no wonder that the young girl dared to be so unbridled. The teleportation secret art had indeed rendered them helpless. What a good Yiqing Luo. Things were getting more and more interesting. There was a light sneer, and it was so strange that it sent chills down one's spine. The 5 people kneeling on the ground trembled under this light sneer. Despair and a gloomy and cold aura filled their bodies and minds. They were afraid that there would be no tomorrow. Yi Qing Luo displayed the teleportation secret art, and speedily left that group of people by 100 miles. That black-robed man gave her too much pressure. Not to mention that black-robed man. If those 5 middle-aged men joined hands to deal with her, she might not be able to take it. Chapter 4787. She wasn't a fool. How could she possibly escape after fighting with the other party? By that time, would she be able to escape? She could escape comfortably. Why make a big fuss? But Yi Qing Luo wasn't sure if the black-robed man would catch up. She looked around her. Just as she was about to run further, she summoned Qi. Just as she moved, a powerful profound light shot over from afar. Yi Qing Luo's heart suddenly tightened as she looked towards the direction where the profound ray came from. No one. The air seemed to have quietened down again. Yi Qing Luo's expression congealed slightly as she quickly looked around. Suddenly, a hand was placed on her shoulder. Yi Qing Luo suddenly turned her hand back, and the profound ray gathered in her palm as she slapped backwards. A hand abruptly intercepted her wrist. A slightly familiar warm smell rushed into her nose. Yi Qing Luo withdrew her imposing manner and raised her head suddenly. Sure enough, she met with a handsome face. Bloodbone Barbaric King. It was actually Bloodbone Barbaric King. Why was he here? Wasn't he in the Earth boundary? Bloodbone Barbaric King grabbed the young lady's arm as his dark eyes swept back and forth on her body. Finally, his gaze landed on the red mark on her wrist. His brows suddenly knitted tightly. Yi Qing Luo took a look at her wrist and withdrew her hand. It's okay, I was just locked for a while. Who did it? Bloodbone Barbaric King's gaze was gloomy. Yi Qing Luo knew that he was worried about her. She shook her head. Let's go back to Feng family first. I'll tell you all at once. You still intend to go back? Bloodbone Barbaric King frowned. His brows were filled with disapproval. Yi Qing Luo smiled lightly as her lips curled. You said it yourself, that's Feng family, mother's family. Mother is no longer around this Feng family. If I don't return, maternal grandfather alone won't be able to hold on. To be able to let Patriarch Feng survive till now. It was all because of his obsession to find his daughter's biological daughter. Now she appeared. If she disappeared again, this would definitely be a heavy blow to Patriarch Feng. The barbaric Bloodbone King's face stiffened, but in the end, he did not say anything to stop him. Yi Qing Luo took the initiative to hold the Bloodbone Barbaric King's arm. After all, he is my mother's father and my maternal grandfather. For my mother's sake, accompany me back to the Feng family, okay? The young girl's charming words and that sweet smile. The Bloodbone Barbarian King's eyes twitched, even though the girl looked very similar to Feng Ge. However, the Barbaric Blood King could clearly feel the difference between the two of them. But even so, he couldn't refuse any of the girl's requests. Yi Qing Luo didn't give the Barbaric Bloodbone King any chance to reject. After acting coquettishly, she pulled the Bloody Bone Barbarian King toward the Feng family. Feng Manor. Feng Clan Master looked at the news provided by the informant, and his face was gloomy. He slammed the table. What a bunch of 5 great nobles! How dare you lay your hands on my granddaughter? The 5 great aristocrats? Feng Zhongqing frowned slightly. Why would the aristocrats kidnap Miss Yi? Yi Qing Luo had just arrived at the God Realm. It should be impossible for her to form a feud with the 5 great nobles. Or rather, it was impossible for the 5 great nobles to know Yi Qing Luo. And why would they kidnap Yi Qing Luo? Their target is our Feng family. Feng Clan Master clenched his fists tightly. A murderous look filled his eyes. Dare to kidnap my Feng family's granddaughter. I'd like to see how arrogant the 5 great nobles are now. He stood up abruptly and his gaze swept over to Granny Feng. Get ready, we're going to the 5 great nobles. Chapter 4788. Granny Feng immediately made arrangements. Feng Zhongqing and Ji Wuhua looked at each other. Let's go too. Saying that, the group of people headed towards the main door of the Feng residence. Just as they reached the main door of the Feng residence, they heard a voice full of laughter. "Hey, you all know that I'm coming back at this time and you personally came to welcome me?" The young lady's clear voice was like pearls falling on a plate. When it fell into everyone's ears, it made everyone's eyes lit up as their faces revealed a joyful expression. It's Qing Luo. Not too far ahead, a drop-dead gorgeous young woman in fluttering red clothes was slowly walking towards them. Behind the young lady was the gloomy-looking blood-bone barbaric king. After seeing Yi Qingluo, Feng family's patriarch almost subconsciously walked towards her. Because of excitement, the old man's footsteps were somewhat messy. Yi Qingluo hurriedly took the initiative to welcome him and held his arm. "Grandfather, I've made you worried. Yi, are you hurt anywhere? Tell grandfather if you feel uncomfortable. Grandfather will ask someone to come over to take a look." Feng family's patriarch sized Yi Qingluo up, his eyes filled with concern. Yi Qingluo shook her head. Nothing. What could happen to me?" Feng family's patriarch's eyes were slightly red. He raised his head and looked at Bloodbone Barbaric King behind Yi Qingluo. "Bone Lord, it's all thanks to you today. It has nothing to do with this god." Bloodbone Barbaric King was expressionless. When this god followed her aura and rushed over, she had already escaped. Feng family's patriarch was slightly stunned when he heard that. Even the few people who followed behind were stunned. When Feng family's patriarch regained his senses, his expression was somewhat solemn. He pulled Yi Qingluo and walked towards the Feng residence. "Let's go back and talk." The group of people turned around and walked into the Feng residence. No one noticed it. Not far from the main door of the Feng residence, a few black-robed men with gloomy expressions and vicious aura were staring at the slowly closing main door of the Feng residence. "That young lady from the Feng family is back. Inform Sir first." One of them took out a paper crane. Profound light surged. That paper crane instantly turned into a ball of light and flew toward somewhere. Returning to the main hall of the Feng manor, Feng family's patriarch pulled Yi Qingluo along as he asked all sorts of questions. After all, the tip-off was that Yi Qingluo had been kidnapped by the combined forces of the 5 great aristocrats. It fell into the hands of the 5 great aristocratic families. Yi Qingluo was able to come back safe and sound? Or with just his own strength? The more Feng clan master thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. "Qingluo, were you forced to come back? Or poisoned?" Feng family's patriarch suddenly closed the distance between Yi Qingluo, as he lowered his voice and asked, "Yi Qingluo, grandfather, aren't you imagining too much?" She patted Feng clan's master's hand. "I'm fine, I'm really fine. Those people can't hurt me." Feng clan master was still worried. Feng Zhangqing said, "Lord Patriarch, why don't you let Wuhua take a look at Miss Yi?" Ji Wuhua was one of the top 3 alchemists in the entire divine world. His medical skills were superb. However, Ji Wuhua rarely saved people. Or rather, he had never saved anyone in front of anyone. Over time, the people in the divine world almost forgot that Ji Wuhua was also a doctor. Feng clan master quickly looked at Ji Wuhua. "Flower King, it's about the beauty's safety. It would be impolite of me to refuse." Ji Wuhua smiled evilly. A pair of captivating phoenix eyes seemed to be emitting electric current. It seemed that he still wanted to prove his charm in front of Yi Qingluo. Waist 7th Miss. "Lord Overlord, please be gentle with your love. Will continue to be updated in the Sea of Books Pavilion. There are no advertisements in the site. Please collect and recommend the Sea of Books Pavilion." Waist 7th Miss. "Lord Overlord, please be gentle with your love." Waist 7th Miss. "Lord Overlord, please be gentle with your love. The Sea of Books Pavilion is the fastest to update." Chapter 4789. However, Yi Qingluo's expression didn't fluctuate at all when she met Ji Wuhua's eyes. Ji Wuhua's devilish smile froze for a moment. Following that, he took the initiative to walk towards Yi Qingluo. Every step he took, that was called enchanting. His long and narrow phoenix eyes were embellished with a captivating charm. Yi Qingluo, who could drag this coquettish fox down? When a man became enchanting, there was nothing for a woman to do. Ji Wuhua walked to Yi Qingluo's side and gave her an enchanting smile. Miss Yi, please stretch out your hand. Yi Qingluo endured, and just as she was about to stretch out her hand, she was grabbed by Bloodbone Barbaric King. Bloodbone Barbaric King pulled Yi Qingluo behind him and stared coldly at Ji Wuhua. Flower King, please conduct yourself with dignity. Ji Wuhua's eyes were smiling. His phoenix eyes were like a blossoming flame flower. This king hasn't done anything yet. Isn't Bone Lord making a big fuss out of nothing? While saying that, he threw a coquettish look at Yi Qingluo. Miss Yi, don't you think so? Yi Qingluo. She couldn't resist the urge to beat him up. What should she do? She stared at Ji Wuhua, took a deep breath and said word by word. Do you know that you look especially ugly? The word ugly caused Ji Wuhua's face, which was originally full of smiles, to stiffen. Following that, his enchanting expression broke down bit by bit. What did you say? Ji Wuhua's eyes widened as he gritted his teeth in anger. Yi Qingluo smiled. I said you're ugly. Ji Wuhua. You're the ugly one. Your whole family is ugly. He was so good-looking. In the entire God realm, there were so many women who wanted to throw themselves into his arms like moths to a flame. How could he be ugly? Absolutely intolerable. Enough. Feng Zhongqing held down Ji Wuhua with a slight headache. Don't argue about such a meaningless topic. Let Miss Yi take a look at her body first. Ji Wuhua slapped Feng Zhongqing's hand away. How could this be a meaningless topic? She is questioning my charm. Who am I? I am the most charming man in the God realm, Flower King. He was gnashing his teeth as he spoke. Then he flung his sleeves forcefully. What are you looking at? Do you really think that I, the Flower King, would do that? Feng Zhongqing still wanted to say something. Yi Qingluo interrupted them. I'm fine. I agreed to check your pulse just to reassure my grandfather. Since Flower King doesn't want to, there's no need to trouble yourself. She hooked her pink lips and helped Master Feng to sit down. Grandpa, I'm really fine. Don't you believe me? You don't want me to check your pulse, but I still want to. Ji Wuhua was rebellious. Seeing that Yi Qingluo had rejected him, a famous doctor in the God realm, to check her pulse, Ji Wuhua's heart sank. He immediately grabbed Yi Qingluo's arm. Yi Qingluo. She suddenly comprehended the ability to control Ji Wuhua. Ji Wuhua wanted to check her pulse. Yi Qingluo naturally wouldn't reject it. She didn't eat the pills that the 5 people fed her. Naturally, his body would not show any signs of being poisoned. But when Ji Wuhua's fingers pressed on her pulse, his handsome face, which originally had a carefree expression on it, immediately stiffened and became serious. His pair of red phoenix eyes were opened wide, staring at Yi Qingluo in disbelief. What's wrong? Is there anything wrong with Qingluo's body? Feng Zhongqing got anxious. No. Ji Wuhua swallowed his saliva. She is pregnant. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please be gentle with your love. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please be gentle with your love. The Sea of Books Pavilion updates the fastest. Chapter 4790. Pulse of Pregnancy. Feng family patriarch was stunned. When he reacted, his face suddenly turned pale. His eyes were full of shock and disbelief. He looked at Yi Qingluo, his voice was trembling. Qingluo, you have already. His line of sight slid down. It landed on Yi Qingluo's belly. Yi Qingluo. Her hands subconsciously touched her belly. Pulse of pregnancy? She was pregnant? No, there should be no such possibility. She was also a doctor, although a doctor didn't treat himself. But it was impossible for her not to know this kind of thing. But her subconscious action had already shown everything. Feng family patriarch clenched his fists. Qingluo, you are already married? No. She and Dmo Xian hadn't had the time to get married yet. Who is that man? Feng family patriarch was furious when he heard that. His face was slightly distorted. Not married. But pregnant? What kind of bad man had his granddaughter been cheated by? Feng family patriarch was so angry that his face flushed. His rough but warm big palm held Yi Qingluo's little hand tightly. Grandfather will definitely seek justice for you. Give birth to this child. Grandfather will raise it for you. Yi Qingluo was touched and felt funny. Did she look like a person who would be cheated by a scumbag? Grandfather, I'm not pregnant. Yiqing Luo explained. You don't have to lie to grandfather. Grandfather knows your pain. Feng family patriarch's old eyes were red. Grandfather will definitely catch that man for you. Grandfather, I'm really not pregnant. Yiqing Luo had some headache and explained again. However, Feng family patriarch had an expression of, I know, I understand, I understand. Don't listen, I don't listen. Yiqing Luo. Grandfather, what do you understand? Can't you listen to her explanation for once? She felt even more headache. She suddenly pulled out the hand that was held tightly by Feng family patriarch, stood up and kicked Ji Wuhua unexpectedly. Ji Wuhua staggered. Yiqing Luo grabbed his arm from behind. She lifted her foot and kicked him in the back, kicking him to the front of Feng family patriarch. You give me a good explanation. Ji Wuhua was caught off guard by the kick. His upper body staggered and fell on the table. His handsome face immediately darkened. What are you doing? This was the first time in Ji Wuhua's life that he had been put into such a difficult position by a woman. Yiqing Luo sneered. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm already giving you face by not killing you. Ji Wuhua covered his aching stomach. It was just a joke. Is there a need to be so violent? Yiqing Luo gave a fake smile. Oh, you can't lift it. Who can't lift it? Ji Wuhua was furious. Yiqing Luo smiled. Oh, I was just joking. How can you make such a joke? I have 3,000 beauties in my palace. If you make such a joke, what will happen to my beauties? Ji Wuhua was exasperated. You can joke around, why can't I? Yiqing Luo sneered. Hurry up and explain, I don't have time to joke around with you. The conversation between the two. The people around him understood what he meant. Feng family patriarch's face changed slightly. What Flower King said just now was just a joke. Yes. Yiqing Luo nodded helplessly. How can I not know my own body? Feng family patriarch grabbed the teacup and threw it at Ji Wuhua's face. How dare you make such a joke? Do you think my Qing Luo doesn't care about her reputation? Waist 7th Missy. Overlord, please be gentle with your love. Will continue to be updated in the Sea of Books Pavilion. There are no advertisements on the website, so please collect and recommend the Sea of Books Pavilion. Waist 7th Missy. Overlord, please be gentle with your love. Waist 7th Missy. Overlord, please be gentle with your love. Overlord, please be gentle with your love. Chapter 4791. Ji Wuhua was hit in the face by the tea, and more than half of his handsome face was soaked in the tea. He quickly covered his face. A gentleman uses his mouth instead of his fists. I am after all one of the 3 kings, Flower King. How can I lose my face when you treat me like this? How can you make this kind of joke? Feng family's patriarch was so angry that his beard was blowing. Fortunately, there are no outsiders around. If Qing Luo's reputation is ruined, I will beat you up. Ji Wuhua rubbed his face and felt wronged. What reputation? Your granddaughter has no reputation for a long time. What nonsense are you talking about? Feng family's patriarch grabbed the things on the table and threw them at Ji Wuhua. Ji Wuhua quickly dodged and continued. If you don't believe me, ask your granddaughter if she has a wild man outside. Feng family's patriarch's face froze slightly as he thought of Yiqing Luo's action of covering her stomach subconsciously. This had obviously exposed something. He looked at Yiqing Luo cautiously and in a probing manner. He didn't know how to ask. According to Yiqing Luo's current age, she had reached the marriageable age, so marriage was inevitable. For so many years, he as her grandfather had not accompanied her by her side. He really didn't know how to ask about his granddaughter's feelings. Yiqing Luo stared at Ji Wuhua, that coquettish fox grandfather. She didn't know where he got the news that she already had someone in her heart. But in front of her grandfather, Yiqing Luo had no intention to hide. After this matter is over, I will bring him to see you. After a pause, she held Feng family's patriarch's hand and smiled slightly. Grandfather, don't worry, he is very good to me. Feng family's patriarch looked at Yiqing Luo's smiling face, and his old eyes turned slightly red. He patted the back of Yiqing Luo's hand lightly. It's grandfather who didn't find you early and didn't do his duty as a grandfather to choose a suitable man for you. He sighed softly. Grandfather believes that Qing Luo's foresight is not bad. Yi Qing Luo smiled. Well, my foresight is different from mother. His feelings for me are even deeper than blood-bone barbaric king's feelings for mother. The handsome face of the bloody-bone barbarian king, who was suddenly called out, blushed. He rubbed his nose in embarrassment. Why are you suddenly talking about me? Yi Qing Luo beamed. I'm praising you for my mother. Your love is stronger than gold. The barbaric blood-bone king pursed his lips and did not speak. He still looked cold and unfeeling. However, his eyes, which had clearly softened, revealed his true emotions. Feng Clan Master took a glance at the barbaric blood-bone king. Finally, he patted the back of Yi Qing Luo's hand again. If you say so, grandfather can rest assured. Just how deep was Bone Lord's feelings for Feng Ge? As an elder, he saw it all. Thousands of years had passed. Bone Lord still loved his daughter deeply. Patriarch Feng was an experienced person. Naturally, he could tell. When Feng Ge was mentioned, there was a clear change in Bone Lord's gaze. Especially, Bone Lord's feelings towards Qing Luo. He had treated Qing Luo as his own daughter, doting and caring. A thought formed in his mind. But he didn't say it now. Instead, he shifted the topic back to Yi Qing Luo's kidnapping. Qing Luo, do you know who took you away? Feng family's patriarch's expression gradually turned solemn. Seventh Miss who likes trash. Overlord, please collect your love gently. Seventh Miss who likes trash. Overlord, please collect your love gently. The Sea of Books Pavilion updates the fastest. Chapter 4792. Yi Qing Luo pursed her pink lips slightly. Her long and narrow eyes rippled with a strange light. I know, she said, but those people should have no chance to speak now. Feng family patriarch was stunned. You killed them? And escaped? No. Yi Qing Luo shook her head. Those people I saw were about 40 to 50 years old, and each of them looked like high-ranking officials. Feng family patriarch quickly looked at Feng Pe. Feng Pe understood and walked out of the room. After a while, she walked over with a few portraits. When the portraits were opened, Yi Qing Luo recognized the people in the paintings. They were the people she saw in the secret room. Grandfather, have you found out? Yi Qing Luo pointed at the people in the paintings. Among the dozens of paintings, 5 people were selected and placed on the table. Feng family patriarch's gaze swept through the people in the portraits one by one, clenched his fists, gritted his teeth and said angrily, It's really the 5 aristocrats. You're used to a comfortable life. How dare you touch my Feng family's people? 5 aristocrats? Yi Qing Luo didn't understand the hierarchy in the God realm. Feng family patriarch explained briefly. In the God realm, there were a total of 3 major clans. The royal family was the leader. That was the Emperor of God Emperor, and a series of clans. The aristocrats were the second class. There were 5 aristocrats in the God realm, whose power was second only to the royal family. Especially now, the Emperor of God Emperor had passed away, and the acting Emperor of God Emperor couldn't get the inheritance of the Emperor of God, so he could only temporarily take up the position. The power of the 5 aristocrats was even greater. The last clan was also the most common force in the God realm, Ping Clan, and the 5 people Yi Qing Luo saw in the secret room. They were all extraordinary people in the 5 aristocrats. There was a patriarch of a certain aristocrat. There was also a certain aristocrat in power, or a certain brother of a certain aristocrat, etc. In this way, those 5 people's status in the God realm can only be high and not low. Yi Qing Luo's slender fingers stroked her chin. What treasure does the Feng family have? Worth the 5 aristocrats to take such a big risk? Feng family patriarch's expression changed slightly, hesitated for a moment and sighed softly. These are all rumors. Rumor? Yi Qing Luo was puzzled. After Xiao Ge passed away, there were rumors that Xiao Ge left a treasure in the Feng family. Feng clan master sighed. Little Ge is the emperor of the emperors. No one in the divine realm is her opponent. What she has is also the strongest thing in the world. Therefore, There is a rumor that whoever obtains the items of the previous divine emperor will be able to command the world, obtain the divine emperor's inheritance, and become the next divine emperor. Yi Qingluo nodded thoughtfully. So, the 5 people from the 5 great clans want to get that thing and become the next emperor of God. Everyone wants to become a divine emperor, Feng clan master said helplessly. But Xiaoge died so suddenly, how could she leave anything behind? Those people have already been blinded by this rumor, and won't even think about it. Even the acting divine emperor, who is related to the former divine emperor by blood, couldn't get the divine emperor's inheritance. How could he get the divine emperor's inheritance just because of one thing? Yi Qingluo's little hand held Feng clan master's hand tightly. Never try to wake up a person who is pretending to be asleep. Maybe they know this, but they just don't want to believe it. Feng clan master sighed and shook his head, full of helplessness and exhaustion. Feng family has explained this rumor countless times, but it's useless, so Feng family is too lazy to explain. Waste 7th Miss. Overlord, love gently. The correct chapter will continue to be updated in the Sea of Books Pavilion. There are no advertisements in the website. Please collect and recommend the Sea of Books Pavilion. Waste 7th Miss. Overlord, love gently. The correct chapter will continue to be updated in the Sea of Books Pavilion. There are no advertisements in the website. Please collect and recommend the Sea of Books Pavilion. Chapter 4793. But now, because of this unreasonable rumor, it hurt my granddaughter. Feng family's patriarch's eyes gradually gathered into a whirlpool, deep and gloomy. In any case, I must ask for an explanation from the 5 aristocrats. Yi Qingluo's hands clenched the old man's slightly rough hand. Her eyebrows were stained with some light softness. In her heart, there was a spread of warmth. It made her temperament seem to be much gentler. The feeling of being protected by family was really good. All along fighting alone, she lived in a state of tension every day. Later, she came to this strange world, met a group of brothers around her, met A Xian and fell in love with each other. She was finally no longer alone. But friendship, love after all, could not replace family. She could feel her grandfather's love for her from the bottom of his heart. At this time, he was really angry for her. He wanted to stand up for her. Obviously, the two had only met for a few hours. Obviously, it had not been verified that she was Feng Jiyi's daughter. He had already treated her sincerely. This might be family. The smile between Yi Qingluo's eyebrows became more and more brilliant. One hand around her grandfather's shoulder, the whole person hugged him. Grandfather, you are so good to me. Feng family's patriarch was startled by the sudden hug. Then his eyes were slightly red. He reached out and hugged the girl's delicate body. You are my granddaughter. If I don't treat you well, who else can I treat well too? Yi Qingluo chuckled. There was a shallow smile between her eyebrows. The two of them hugged for a moment. The girl moved away and sat next to Feng family's patriarch. Grandfather, is there anyone or force that the 5 aristocrats are afraid of? Feng family's patriarch frowned. Royal family. Royal family. Yi Qingluo slightly condensed for a moment. Royal family, which forces are included? Feng family's patriarch heard Yi Qingluo's implied meaning. You mean, this time the 5 aristocrats united to kidnap you, is because of someone behind the scenes? Yes. Yi Qingluo muttered to herself for a moment as her eyes congealed slightly. When I was imprisoned in the secret chamber, I saw a black-robed man. Those 5 aristocratic families were extremely respectful towards that person. She paused for a moment before continuing. It's very likely that the people from the 5 great aristocratic families have already died at the hands of the black-robed man. This was what she had said from the very beginning. Those people probably wouldn't have the chance to speak anymore. That black-robed man probably wouldn't let those 5 people off. After all, he was a traitor. When Patriarch Feng heard this, his eyes suddenly condensed. Feng Chongqing and Ji Wuhua both stood up involuntarily. The faces of the few of them were filled with horror. To be able to make the 5 great nobility clans act so respectfully towards him, and not worry about him killing an important member of the 5 great nobility clans. Other than the imperial family, there was no one else. However, the royal family. The royal family had never done such a thing. The Feng family is a royal family force. After all, the Feng family produced a divine emperor, Feng Ge. The current acting emperor was also a member of the Feng family. Then the other royal family forces were the families that had some blood relationship with the Feng family. Those forces had to rely on the Feng family to survive. How could they possibly do such an act of colluding with the 5 great nobility clans to kidnap people from the Feng family? Moreover, the target was the Feng family's treasures? Who in the royal family didn't know that the Feng family didn't have the so-called treasures? So, it might not necessarily be the royal family's force. Yiqing Luo pondered for a moment and said, "Does the God realm also have dark forces?" 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please collect my love. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please collect my love. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please collect my love. Chapter 4794. There was no absolute light in the world. Where there is light, there must be darkness. Even the God realm was not spared. In Yiqing Luo's mind, the image of the person behind the scenes of the secluded palace surfaced. Her eyes darkened slightly. For example, does your God realm have a force called the Palace of Gloomy Darkness? Feng family patriarch frowned. No. When has such a force appeared in the divine realm? Yiqing Luo recalled every single time she had clashed with the Palace of Seclusion. The Palace of Gloomy Darkness had completely treated her as a vessel for the divine phoenix Profound Heart Jade. In addition, they controlled her and made her their puppet. It was as if he wanted to get some clues from her. The Abyss Palace had long known her identity. It was very likely that the goal of Dark Shadow Palace was to find the so-called treasure of the Feng family from her. She had seen the people behind the Palace of Gloomy Darkness, and had fought them before. However, when he faced the person behind the scenes of the Palace of Darkness, and the black-robed man outside the secret room, he felt like he was about to die. The feeling was completely different. The black-robed man was not the mastermind behind the Dark Palace. However, it was highly possible that it had a close relationship with the Palace of Gloomy Darkness. Yiqing Luo pursed her pink lips slightly as she narrated the matter of her crossing hands with the Palace of Seclusion in a concise and comprehensive manner. What she said was very simple. But that was the point. After all, the God realm was far superior to the other 2 realms. For the heaven domain, the land domain, or even the so-called low-class nirvana domain, what happened? Naturally, the immortal realm would not know, unless it was too big of a commotion. It affected the balance of the 3 realms. Only then would they pay attention to it. However, he would never take it to heart. Even if the so-called prophecy back then was that the nirvana realm was almost destroyed. Or perhaps it was the war between the heaven and earth realms, which caused the people to have no way of making a living, and it felt like the end of the world. Not even the God realm had interfered. It was clear that the immortal realm did not care about the matters of the lower realms. If it wasn't for the fact that the acting God Emperor wanted to meet Yiqing Luo this time round, and specially instructed the God Guardian squad to invite her over, it was likely that the God realm wouldn't show its face even once. Not to mention the God realm. The so-called heavenly Tao that maintained the balance of the 3 realms never showed itself. Yiqing Luo didn't know how to ridicule these people. It was said that with great power came great responsibility. They held high positions, and were the gods in the hearts of all profound practitioners. He didn't care much about the matters of the lower worlds. Of course, the upper realm became gods. It was because of their talent and ability. Indeed, he had no obligation to care about the life and death of the lower realms. It was his duty not to help. It was a favor to help. Everything depended on the will of the immortal realm. Only Yiqing Luo was someone from the lower realm. He couldn't help but feel a little indignant. After listening to Yiqing Luo's words, Feng family patriarch's expression froze slightly. His brows were tightly knitted, and he was not angry. What kind of inferior force dares to touch my Feng family's people? From Yiqing Luo's description, the other party clearly knew her identity long ago. In other words, he was deliberately targeting his Feng family. Grandfather will definitely get to the bottom of this matter. Feng family master's eyes flashed coldly. The Feng family has not been involved in worldly affairs for many years, but it doesn't mean that the Feng family has declined. He waved his hand and glanced at Granny Feng. Call the acting God Emperor back. Granny Feng was stunned. Lord Patriarch, the acting God Emperor is focused on the affairs of the God realm. I'm afraid he won't. It's okay, you can rest assured and call him back. Ji Wuhua waved his hand. Seventh Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please keep your love for me. Seventh Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please keep your love for me. The Sea of Books Pavilion updates the fastest. Chapter 4795. Just tell him that the person he wants to see is in the Feng family, and he will come back. Granny Feng glanced at Patriarch Feng. He nodded his head. Then she left. Yi Qing Luo opened her eyes wide in confusion. Acting God Emperor? Oh, by the way, I haven't told you. The acting Divine Emperor you want to see is your little uncle, Ji Wuhua said from the side. Little uncle? She suddenly had a little uncle who was the acting Emperor God? His status had risen by a notch again. But thinking about it carefully, it made sense. Feng Ge was her mother, the emperor of the former God Emperor. The acting God Emperor was also chosen from the Feng family. Naturally, he had a close relationship with the Feng family. Your uncle is always busy dealing with the affairs in the divine realm. He hasn't come back for hundreds of years. I am used to it. Master Feng sighed and suddenly thought of something. By the way, what did the Flower King say? The person he wanted to see. What did he mean? Yi Qing Luo rushed to explain in front of Ji Wuhua. I came to God Realm because the acting God Emperor wanted to see me. So he specially sent the God Guardian squad to the lower realm to fetch me. Otherwise, based on my strength, there's no way I can appear in God Realm. If Ji Wuhua were to explain, he was afraid that his mouth would spit out some nonsense that would cause people to misunderstand. He wants to see you? Patriarch Feng frowned. Why does he want to see you? Is it because he knows your identity, so he asked you to come to the divine realm to verify your identity? Well, I am not sure. Yi Qing Luo shook her head. She hadn't seen the acting God Emperor yet. She didn't know why the acting God Emperor wanted to see her. Patriarch Feng looked at Ji Wuhua. She came from the 100-Flower Garden. Did the acting God Emperor order you to put her in the 100-Flower Garden? The acting God Emperor didn't say anything. He just asked the Divine Guard team to let me arrange a place for her. Ji Wuhua touched his palms with the back of his hands, looking as if he was racking his brains to think for her sake. She is a person from the lower realm. If those old fools find out that she has come to the immortal realm, won't they tear her apart? No matter how I look at it, the 100-Flower Garden is the safest. Who would suspect her origins if she was placed in the 100-Flower Gardens? Feng Clan Master. This reason is really irrefutable. The acting Divine Emperor has some matters to deal with recently. Patriarch, don't worry. Feng Zhangqing comforted her gently. The acting Divine Emperor will come to meet Miss Yi after he finishes his business. Business. Might as well just let him live with his work. What does he need us relatives for? Feng Clan Master spat fiercely. He is your master. You go and tell him that if he doesn't return to the Feng mansion within today, he will be punished. He doesn't need to come back anymore. Feng Zhangqing still wanted to say something. Feng Clan Master glared at him angrily. He slapped the table and stood up. Let's go to the 5 great aristocrats. I want to question them. They kidnapped my Feng family's granddaughter. Are they trying to rebel? Grandfather. Yi Qing Luo hurriedly held onto his arm as she spoke in a gentle voice. They don't know my identity, and if we were to go over rashly, it would only raise their vigilance. Moreover, how are you going to explain my identity to them? The Feng family was, after all, the legitimate bloodline of the royal family. It was also the family of the destined Divine Emperor. No matter what it was, it would receive great attention. Seventh Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please collect your love. Seventh Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please collect your love. The Book Sea Pavilion is the fastest to update. Chapter 4796. A Feng family's granddaughter suddenly popped out. The daughter of the former divine emperor. Who would believe that? There would be people who would doubt the purpose of the Feng family. Therefore, they wanted her to restore the identity of the Feng family's granddaughter, the biological daughter of the former divine emperor. There must be an appropriate time. Obviously, it would not be now. Yiqing Luo could think of it. Feng family patriarch could naturally think of it. His old face sank, clenching his fists unwillingly. Are we going to let it go like this? He, the dignified Feng family's patriarch, couldn't even bully his own granddaughter back? Did he still have the face to be her grandfather? We can first inquire about the news about those 5 people to determine if they are really dead. Yiqing Luo smiled and held Feng family patriarch's arm, helping him to sit down again. If those 5 people are really dead, there is no need for us to go again. Feng family patriarch nodded repeatedly. Yes, yes, you are thoughtful. He snapped his fingers. Soon 2 secret guards appeared. Feng family patriarch arranged things. All right, grandfather, since I was kidnapped last night, you haven't had a rest, I will accompany you to rest for half an hour. Yiqing Luo didn't give Feng family patriarch a chance to refuse. Her long eyes curved and her smile was bright. I will accompany you to rest, I am a little tired too. Feng family patriarch originally wanted to chat with her for a while. Hearing the latter half of her sentence, he immediately dispelled the idea. He quickly got up. Yes, yes, you were kidnapped last night. You must have not had a good rest until now. Grandfather will go to rest with you. One old and one young, holding each other, walked towards the direction of the bedroom. Bloodbone Barbarian King's face was cold, staring at Yiqing Luo and Feng family patriarch's back without blinking. His eyes were deep like a whirlpool, surging wave after wave of waves. A hand was put on his shoulder. Bloodbone Barbarian King's face turned cold, and he suddenly buckled the wrist behind him. Immediately, he buckled the wrist behind him. Ayaya, Bone Lord, don't be so rough. A frivolous voice, with a bit of artificial pain. Ji Wuhua nimbly withdrew his hand and dodged the barbaric Bloodbone King's attack. Did you think of the former divine emperor when you saw Miss Ye's back? Ji Wuhua looked as if he had seen through the truth. He reached out his hand to hook the barbaric Blood King's shoulder. The barbaric Bloodbone King glanced at him coldly. Ji Wuhua withdrew his hand resentfully. Don't be so fierce. I just want to know some gossip. He paused and carefully observed the barbaric Bloodbone King's expression. Seeing that the cold face was emotionless, he plucked up his courage and asked. Rumor has it that Bone Lord died in the hands of the former divine emperor? Why is he with Miss Yi now? As he guessed, he couldn't help but fill in the blanks in his mind. Could it be that your death back then, your soul dispersing and your ashes were all fake? In fact, the former divine emperor wanted you to be Miss Ye's father, right? The barbaric Bloodbone King coldly glanced at him. Following that, he walked towards the direction which Yiqing Luo had left with an expressionless face. Ji Wuhua didn't get an answer and hurriedly chased after him. Bone Lord, what do you mean by that look? You haven't answered my question, don't go. Wuhua. Feng Zhangqing held on to Ji Wuhua with a slight headache. Stop fooling around, Bone Lord is in a bad mood. Now on account that this is the Feng family, I won't haggle with you. If you annoy Bone Lord, even if you and I join hands, we won't be his opponent. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please keep your love away. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please keep your love away. The Sea of Books Pavilion is the fastest to update. Chapter 4797. So powerful. Ji Wuhua's eyes lit up. That makes me want to fight with him even more. Feng Zhangqing. Fine, if you are beaten to death, I will not stop you. Ji Wuhua. No. You have to stop me symbolically, to give me a way out. Feng Zhangqing had long been accustomed to his friend's reckless behavior. He waved Ji Wuhua away. I will go to the acting god emperor first and bring the patriarch's words. If you want to stay in the Feng family, be careful and don't talk nonsense. He looked around and lowered his voice. Bone Lord is not to be offended. That Miss Yi, you should also be careful. Jokes are jokes, but there is a limit. All right, I know. Don't be like an old mother. Jiwuhua waved his hand impatiently. Yiqing Luo and Patriarch Feng went to Patriarch Feng's room together. Yiqing Luo sat on the soft chair beside the bed, leaning against the headboard and closed her eyes slightly. One hand was still holding her grandfather's hand. Patriarch Feng originally didn't want Yiqing Luo to work so hard and sleep sitting like this, but he was worried about leaving Yiqing Luo alone in the room. After what happened last night, Yiqing Luo tried every means to persuade Patriarch Feng before he agreed. Even if Patriarch Feng was strong, but his age was after all old. After a tiring night until now, he was indeed tired. But perhaps it was because Yiqing Luo was by his side. The hands that held each other conveyed the warmth of both sides. About the time it took for a stick of incense to burn, then Patriarch Feng fell into a deep sleep. Yiqing Luo waited for a while. After confirming that Patriarch Feng had fallen asleep, then she carefully pulled out her hand. She walked out of Patriarch Feng's room looking back 3 times. Just as she reached the door, she saw Bloodbone Barbarian King standing outside. She greeted him with a smile. "Aren't you going to rest?" "No need." His face was cold. "Are you sure to stay in the Feng family?" Yiqing Luo glanced at the closed door. She smiled and shook her head. Shortly after, he strode forward. Bloodbone Barbarian King followed closely. "Grandpa has been alone for so long. He finally met me. I may not leave the Feng family in a short time." She smiled. "However, I shouldn't stay here for a long time. This is his mother's home. She wanted to stay here and accompany her grandfather. He also wanted to see this place where his mother grew up. But she also has her mission to complete. Her brothers and sisters in the lower realm were still waiting for her to return. It was impossible to stay here and live a comfortable life protected by the Feng family. You should be very familiar with this place, right?" Yiqing Luo suddenly turned her head and looked at Bloodbone Barbaric King. Mother's childhood sweetheart. He must be very familiar with the place where Mother grew up. A glimmer of light flashed across the barbaric Bloodbone King's calm eyes. An awkward expression flashed across his face. Yiqing Luo caught it and the smile in her eyes deepened. "I don't know anything about the Feng Manor at all. Can you bring me around to take a look around? The places where Mother had stayed in the past and the things that Mother had done?" The barbaric Bloodbone King wanted to refuse. But when he met the young girl's smiling eyes, he felt a chill run down his spine. Like thousands of flowers blooming. The words of refusal were at the tip of his tongue, but he couldn't say it out. He sighed softly and finally spat out a word, "All right." Bloodbone Barbarian King's understanding of Feng Ge was already deep in his bones. Even if thousands of years had passed, he still remembered everything about Feng Ge clearly. Not a single bit, not missing out. As if it was just something that happened yesterday. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please collect your love. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please collect your love. The Sea of Books Pavilion updates the fastest. Chapter 4798. One action. One sentence. She remembered it clearly. Bloodbone Savage King was no longer in his bashful state. In the end, he fell into the past. Yiqing Luo listened very seriously. He seemed to be able to imagine the scene at that time from the words of the barbaric Bloodbone King. It was like she was one step closer to her mother. Just like that, 4 hours had passed. The sky gradually darkened. Yiqing Luo asked Bloodbone Savage King to bring her to the kitchen. Granny Feng had not returned yet. Other than the secret guards in the Feng Manor, there wasn't even a servant who could handle things. Yiqing Luo also wanted to take this opportunity to cook a meal for her grandfather. Bloodbone Savage King had no intention to stop her. When Patriarch Feng woke up, he followed the secret guards and found his way to the kitchen. He saw the barbaric Bloodbone King leaned against the door of the kitchen with his arms crossed in front of his chest. His deep eyes stared unblinkingly at the young girl who was busy in the kitchen. That serious and deep look. Patriarch Feng felt that he was looking at another person through the young lady. He sighed faintly. That daughter of his was too stubborn. If she had chosen Bone Lord at that time, presumably, their family could still live happily. Unfortunately, there was no if. This sigh attracted the attention of the man outside the door. When Bloodbone Savage King looked over, Patriarch Feng immediately made a hush gesture and shook his head at him. Bloodbone Savage King didn't say anything. He slowly moved away a little. Hence, the kitchen became Bloodbone Savage King stood on one side, and Patriarch Feng stood on the other, looking at the young lady who was busy in the kitchen. Both of their gazes were kind and gentle. This house finally had the taste of home. Another half an hour had passed. Fengxi followed the fragrance and came over. Yiqing Luo then noticed that there were 2 door gods squatting outside the door. Her eyes were filled with joy. She took off her robe and washed her hands. You came just in time. Help me send the dishes to the hall and get ready for dinner. Saying that, she bent over to carry Fengxi in her arms and walked out of the kitchen. The 2 men naturally had no objections. Yiqing Luo carried Fengxi in her arms and sat down in the main hall to wait. She didn't cook a lot of food, but it wasn't little either. When the family was seated around the table, a hearty voice came from outside the door. What's this smell? It's so fragrant. Looks like I came back at the right time. Then a few figures walked in. The person in the lead was dressed in a bright yellow brocade robe and had an imposing appearance. When he strode over, he brought with him an invisible pressure. His footsteps were like the wind. One look, and you could tell that he had the aura of a superior. Yiqing Luo's vision fell onto that person's face. He had good facial features and was extraordinarily handsome. That face, he looked really familiar. He could see that she bore some resemblance to his mother. This person, he should be her mother's younger brother, her little uncle, the current acting divine emperor Feng Liqiong. When Feng Liqiong's vision met Yiqing Luo's, his pupils shrank and the smile on his face froze. Sis. Following that, he seemed to have reacted as he patted the back of his hand hard. No, this is my niece Qing Luo. He walked over quickly as his eyes gazed deeply at the young lady with unconcealable joy. Feng Liqiong had just reached in front of Yiqing Luo and was about to reach out to hug her. But she was stopped by Patriarch Feng's outstretched hand. Don't scare the child. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please collect your love gently. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash. Overlord, please collect your love gently. The Sea of Books Pavilion updates the fastest. Chapter 4799. Immediately, Feng family's patriarch looked towards Yiqing Luo. This is your little uncle who doesn't stay at home. Although he is the acting god emperor, he has a bad temper. It doesn't matter if he is here or not. If you don't want to call him uncle, then don't. This was the official ridicule from her grandfather. Feng Liqiong immediately objected. Father, that's not nice of you. She is my niece, so she has to call me little uncle. He smiled widely and opened his arms towards Yiqing Luo. I've been waiting for you, my niece, for too long. Be a good girl. Call me little uncle. Feng family's patriarch slapped his arm away. You know you're back to see your niece, but you don't even know to prepare a gift. Is there any uncle like you? You still have the cheek to let the child call you? Of course I have prepared. Feng Liqiong's fingers shook. A piece of jade appeared in his palm. The translucent white jade shone with a profound light that flickered like lightning. Sound transmission stone. Ji Wuhua cried out exaggeratedly. The acting god emperor really dotes on this niece of yours. He actually gave his sound transmission stone to her. Yiqing Luo stared at that piece of jade. Her eyes narrowed slightly, not knowing what she was thinking. Feng family's patriarch immediately touched her. Take it, it's rare to get something from him. Yiqing Luo reached out and took the jade. The jade was cool like water in her hand. It felt good, smooth and delicate. Yiqing Luo's pink lips rose as she smiled at Feng Liqiong. Thank you, little uncle. The door opened wide. The moonlight shone like water. Shone on the young lady's gorgeous face. The young lady's brows were curved. Her long and narrow eyes were also curved. It was obvious that she was very happy. That face was imprinted in Feng Liqiong's eyes. Made him momentarily. He recalled the calm and indifferent face in his memory. Really very similar. Why are you in a daze? Didn't you hear Qing Luo calling you? Feng family's patriarch slapped Feng Liqiong's shoulder. Feng Liqiang suddenly regained her senses and quickly smiled. I'm just too happy. I've waited for so long to hear you call me little uncle. And now I finally hear it. Feng Clan Master glanced at him. Find a place to sit. As he sat down, he was still nagging discontentedly. Qing Luo had specially prepared a meal for me alone, but you've come at the right time, to be able to eat the meal personally cooked by Qing Luo. Feng Liqiang's eyes lit up. My niece made it herself? I must have a good taste. He laughed heartily as he sat down. Feng Zhangqing and Ji Wuhua, who followed behind him, also took their seats. Yi Qing Luo slowly sat down as her gaze fell onto the voice transmission stone in her palm. She gently touched the sound transmission stone with her slender and fair fingertips. That lightning-like profound light dispersed like water ripples. It was very magical. This voice transmission stone is your little uncle's voice transmission stone. Which means no matter where you are in the God realm, as long as you shout little uncle into the voice transmission stone, he will be able to know your location, and you can contact him anytime. Feng family's patriarch saw her loving look and explained. In future, if you have any problems, look for your little uncle. After all, he's an acting God Emperor. If you meet with any danger in the God realm, ask your little uncle to rush over to protect you. Father, I'm an acting God Emperor. There are so many things waiting for me to settle. How can you let me be at your beck and call? Feng Liqiang immediately shouted out. But his tone suddenly changed as a pair of narrow phoenix eyes looked at Yi Qing Luo with a smile. Trashy seventh young mistress. Lord Di Zun, please collect your love. Trashy seventh young mistress. Lord Di Zun, please collect your love. Chapter 4800. But on account of my cute and charming little niece, I will reluctantly agree. Feng family patriarch raised his hand and slowly put it down. From their interaction, Yi Qing Luo could tell. Their relationship was actually very good, even if they rarely met. Even if Feng Liqiang was busy with work. But the interaction between the two of them, it was very intimate. It was totally different from before when Feng family patriarch talked about the acting God Emperor. His tone was impatient. Yi Qing Luo's long and narrow eyes were rippling with a faint light. Her vision was fixed on Feng family patriarch for a moment. Immediately, her pink lips curled up with a bright smile. Thank you, uncle. I will take good care of your gift and carry it with me. Feng Liqiang smiled lightly. As long as Qing Luo likes it. Come and try the dishes that Qing Luo personally made. Feng family patriarch looked at the table full of dishes and felt a little hungry. He picked up the bamboo chopsticks and picked some food. The moment it entered his mouth, his face revealed a surprised look. Qing Luo, your culinary skills are amazing. The dishes that Yi Qing Luo made were all common home dishes in the lower realm. Ordinary ingredients. But the food that she made was completely extraordinary. In addition, the ingredients in the God realm were nourished by the heaven and earth's spiritual qi. The food that she made was even more fragrant and delicious. Feng family patriarch's voice just fell. The others immediately raised their bamboo chopsticks and began to sweep. This meal was very enjoyable. The entire hall was filled with laughter and cheers. It was very pleasant. Yi Qing Luo looked at the scene in front of her. The tenderness between her brows deepened. It wasn't that she hadn't eaten such a joyous meal before. But, for the first time, she sat at the same table with her own relatives, eating together harmoniously. Yi Qing Luo lowered her eyes slightly, concentrating on the cold jade in her palm. Her vision slowly fell onto Feng Liqiang. Her slender fingers curled up one by one, holding the jade in her palm. The smile at the corner of his mouth deepened a little. Qing Luo keeps staring at me. Don't you think that your uncle is very handsome? Feng Liqiang noticed Yi Qing Luo's gaze and looked at her. Yi Qing Luo nodded. Yes, little uncle and mother are quite similar. Feng Liqiang laughed heartily. In terms of resemblance, you're the real one. You're practically carved from the same mold as my sister. Yi Qing Luo curved her charming eyes. Then the relationship between little uncle and mother must be very good. Of course. Feng Liqiang put down her chopsticks. I've been by Big Sister's side since I was young. Big Sister taught me how to cultivate, Taught me how to be a person, taught me everything. He laughed and laughed. He seemed to have sunk into his memories. That pair of long and narrow almond-shaped eyes seemed a little empty and unfocused. If it wasn't for that time, big sister, she wouldn't have. Feng Liqiang murmured softly. Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Patriarch Feng sternly. What nonsense are you talking in front of the child? Let's eat. Feng Liqiang seemed to suddenly come back to her senses. She rubbed her face and laughed. I'm babbling nonsense again. His gaze fell onto Yiqing Luo. His deep gaze congealed on her for some time. His smile gradually faded as he solemnly said, if it wasn't for big sister, there wouldn't be the current me. Your mother is an amazing, amazing big sister. Yiqing Luo's eyes were gentle, and the smile on her pink lips was as tender as warm water. She looked at Feng Liqiang and nodded her head vigorously. I believe that mother will be an amazing mother. Seventh young miss who likes trash. Overlord, please collect your love gently. Seventh young miss who likes trash. Overlord, please collect your love gently. Chapter 4801. After the meal, Granny Feng removed the things on the table. Yiqing Luo wanted to help. Little miss can help take care of young master. I'll take care of these. Granny Feng handed Feng Shi over to Yiqing Luo. Qing Luo, come here. Feng family patriarch waved to her. Yiqing Luo had no choice but to carry Feng Shi to sit beside Feng family patriarch. Your uncle is here now. Just tell him whatever grievances you have suffered. He will definitely seek justice for you. Feng family patriarch glanced at Feng Liqiang, who was sitting by the side. He hinted Yiqing Luo to tell Feng Liqiang about the kidnapping last night. Yiqing Luo knew. Actually, this was her grandfather's intention, to let her and Feng Liqiang interact more, so that they could nurture their relationship. But before Yiqing Luo could speak, Feng Liqiang was the first to speak as he looked at Feng family patriarch. Father, it's not peaceful outside recently. Qing Luo has just returned to the Feng family. Take Qing Luo and stay in the Feng family. Don't go out for now. His expression was somewhat solemn. Let's not talk about Qing Luo's identity. We haven't found a suitable opportunity to reveal it to the public. The most important thing is, there might be some dark forces eyeing the God realm. Feng family patriarch's expression changed slightly. What happened? The important members of the 5 aristocratic families were attacked at the same time. Feng Liqiang placed one hand on the table with a solemn expression. Not only that, the 5 corpses are hung at the entrance of the 5 aristocratic families' mansions. Feng family patriarch frowned. He turned his head and looked at Yiqing Luo. Their gazes met for a moment. They had already guessed it. Those 5 people were probably the ones who kidnapped Yiqing Luo last night. Indeed, they were dead. Yiqing Luo lowered her eyelids slightly, concealing the deep meaning in her eyes. I've been busy with this matter today. To be able to kill the important members of the 5 aristocratic families at the same time, and to hang the corpses so arrogantly. This is obviously provoking the 5 aristocratic families, provoking me, the acting God Emperor. Feng Liqiang's hand on the table tightened. I'm afraid the other party's power has already infiltrated the God realm. I haven't found any useful clues yet. So, you have to be careful. Especially Qing Luo, you've just arrived in the God realm, so don't simply sneak out. The people outside are not like you in the lower realm, understand? Yiqing Luo's eyelashes fluttered slightly as she met Feng Liqiang's eyes with a smile. Amen, I won't. She paused for a moment before continuing. You said, I can provide you with some information about the other party's forces. What? Feng Liqiang asked immediately. Yiqing Luo maintained her smile. The 5 people who killed the 5 aristocratic families were not done by a single force, but one person. Alone. Feng Liqiang frowned. How could one person kill 5 important members of the 5 great clans? It's true, I saw it with my own eyes. Yiqing Luo replied seriously. With your own eyes? Feng Liqiang's eyes darkened. Then did you see who that person was? Yiqing Luo sighed softly and shook her head. That person was wearing a black robe and I couldn't even see his eyes. Then, do you have a way to identify that person? Feng Liqiang asked. That person was wearing a loose black robe. I couldn't see the other party's body shape. His voice was also modified by profound energy. Even if that person was standing in front of me, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to recognize him. Yi Qingluo pursed her pink lips and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, uncle, I can't help you. Think carefully again." Feng Liqiong hadn't finished his words. Feng family's matriarch gave him a slap on the head. "Seventh young miss who likes trash. Lord Overlord, please be gentle with your love. Seventh young miss who likes trash. Lord Overlord, please be gentle with your love." The Sea of Books Pavilion updates the fastest. Chapter 4802. Didn't you hear Qingluo say she couldn't recognize him? Still keep asking. Feng Liqiong stared at him in annoyance. As her uncle, don't you know how to care about her? Feng Liqiong touched the back of his head and gave up asking, looking at Yi Qingluo embarrassedly. "Qingluo, I'm sorry, I'm too anxious." Yi Qingluo smiled innocently. "It's all right. But little uncle, why aren't you curious about how I know that person?" Uncle is muddled from work, thinking of solving the problem of the 5 aristocrats, too anxious. Feng Liqiong softened his tone. "It's my fault, I didn't care about you." He lowered his head apologetically and asked with concern. "Qingluo, how did you meet that person?" "Because I was with the 5 dead people from the 5 aristocrats last night." Yi Qingluo's fingertips touched her chin. "I saw that black-robed man kill those 5 people with my own eyes." "With your own eyes?" Feng Liqiong immediately grabbed Yi Qingluo's hand and sized her up. "Are you all right? You saw it with your own eyes. Why didn't that black-robed man hurt you?" "Perhaps it's because I have something on me that the other party wants." Yi Qingluo allowed Feng Liqiong to hold her wrist. "They seem to want to find out from me the whereabouts of the Feng family's treasure." Yi Qingluo pursed her lips slightly. "How would I know anything about the Feng family's treasure?" She paused and didn't give the others a chance to speak. She continued, "Oh right, little uncle, did you already know my identity? That's why you sent the Divine Guardian squad to the lower realm to find me?" This topic had changed a little too quickly. Feng Liqiong was stunned for a moment and immediately nodded. "Not really, but I have some suspicions. So I wanted to get someone to bring you up to see." He looked at Feng Liqiong. "Father has been looking for you for a long time, but I had never expected you to be in the lower realm." Yi Qingluo blinked her eyes. Her eyes were covered with a layer of mist. "Won't uncle suspect my identity? You and grandfather don't seem to need me to verify my identity, and you already believe me." That look seemed to be very touched. Feng Liqiong held Yi Qingluo's hand with heartache. "How can grandfather recognize the wrong person? You are Feng Ji's daughter, my granddaughter." "That's right. Your face says it all." Feng Liqiong's eyes were warm and gentle, and a kind smile hung on her face. "You don't let your imagination run wild. If you're really worried, you can wait for a while and find an opportunity to reveal your identity to the God realm, and then verify it in front of everyone." Yi Qingluo's eyelashes fluttered, seemingly a little nervous. But I'm not from the God realm. They won't accept me." "You are the granddaughter of my Feng family. Who dares to not accept you? Let the acting God Emperor chop off their heads." Feng family's matriarch interrupted Yi Qingluo's words. Feng Liqiong said helplessly, "Father, I'm not a tyrant. How can I behead someone just because you say so? Just find a random reason. What rebellion? What forbidden techniques? Find any reason." Feng clan master was unreasonable. Feng Liqiong knew her father's character very well, and she nodded repeatedly. Yes, 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 whoever dares to deny our little princess will be beheaded." Yi Qingluo held the old man's arm and leaned her head on his shoulder. "Grandfather treats me the best." The old man chuckled as he stroked her soft black hair that was not tied up. His eyes were filled with a kind and gentle smile. "Seventh young miss who likes trash. Overlord, please collect your love. Seventh young miss who likes trash. Overlord, please collect your love." The Sea of Books Pavilion updates the fastest. Chapter 4803. Yi Qingluo's eyes curved as she casually looked towards Feng Liqiong and asked, "Little uncle, is it only the few of you who know about the news that you sent someone to fetch me back?" Feng Liqiong, Ji Wuhua and Feng Changqing. Feng Liqiong nodded. "Yes, what's wrong?" Yi Qingluo bit her pink lips in doubt. "Since no one knows my identity. Why are the 5 people from the 5 aristocrats so sure that I know the Feng family's treasure?" Yi Qingluo asked. The entire hall fell into silence. After a while, Feng Liqiong frowned. "You mean someone knows your identity?" "I don't know." Yi Qingluo shook her head. "Uncle, this matter. You must investigate clearly. This is not only related to my personal safety, but also the entire Feng family." She rubbed her head against Feng family's matriarch. "I don't want to bring disaster to the Feng family not long after I returned." Feng family's matriarch was distressed. "How can you be a disaster to the Feng family? You are grandfather's treasure." Yi Qingluo nodded with a smile. "So, uncle must find out the other party's purpose as soon as possible. If you need my help, I will not hesitate." "Don't worry." Feng Liqiong clenched her fists. "Whoever dares to touch the Feng family, Feng Liqiong, will be the first to disagree. Leave this matter to me." The people from the 5 aristocrats dare to kidnap Qingluo in the Feng family. It means that this Feng family must have hidden a lot of informers from the 5 aristocrats. Feng family's matriarch looked at Feng Liqiong. "As an uncle, you should know how to help your niece vent her anger, right?" Feng Liqiong's eyes narrowed dangerously. "The 5 aristocrats dare to touch my head. I naturally will not let them off easily." Feng Liqiong got the news and left in a hurry. Feng Changqing and Ji Wuhua also followed and left. Yi Qingluo accompanied Feng family's matriarch for a walk, until the sky turned completely dark. Then she helped Feng family's matriarch back to the room to rest. Feng family's matriarch was worried that last night's incident would happen again. Yi Qingluo pushed Bloodbone Barbarian King in front of her. "Uncle Bone is here, he will protect me." Feng family's matriarch stared at Bloodbone Barbarian King for a while, and finally sighed. There was a tinge of regret in his tone. No one knew what he was feeling regretful about. After Master Feng fell asleep, Yi Qingluo then headed towards her own room. The barbaric Bloodbone King followed closely behind. His eyes were dark as he stared at the girl's back. "Just now, were you hinting at something?" Yi Qingluo felt a little strange on the dining table, as well as the casual conversation afterwards. However, he could not tell what was so strange about it. Somehow he felt that the smile on Yi Qingluo's face looked pure, but it wasn't pure. It was unlike the heartfelt smile on his face when he faced the Feng family's patriarch. Yi Qingluo tilted her head. Under the night sky, the young girl's beautiful face seemed to be plated with a layer of silver radiance. "Uncle Bone really understands me." Yi Qingluo didn't deny it as she curved her charming eyes. "Uncle Bone, do you have a way to set up a barrier with only the 2 of us?" The barbaric Bloodbone King's eyes flickered. Without anyone noticing, he scanned his surroundings with the corner of his eyes. Then he nodded. The next day, Yi Qingluo woke up early in the morning and headed to the kitchen to help Grandma Feng prepare breakfast. The atmosphere was harmonious. While Yi Qingluo was busy with the things in her hands, she asked, "Grandma Feng, how long have you been in the Feng family?" "I have been in the Feng family since young." Grandma Feng smiled. "Once upon a time, your mother was also taken care of by me." "Seventh young miss who likes trash. Overlord, please collect your love." "Seventh young miss who likes trash. Overlord, please collect your love." The Sea of Books Pavilion updates the fastest. Chapter 4804. Yi Qingluo's eyes lit up and hurried to Granny Feng's side. "Granny Feng took care of grandfather and mother, and now she takes care of me and Cece." Her smile deepened. "In our eyes, Granny Feng is our family." Granny Feng's eyes were filled with a layer of moisture. She was very happy in her heart, but remembered her identity as a servant. "You can't do that, young miss, please don't say that. If the Lord hears it, I will be punished. If grandfather hears it, he will agree with what I said." Yi Qingluo put her arms around Granny Feng's waist. Granny Feng was overjoyed and her face was full of smiles. Yi Qing Luo took the opportunity to say, Granny Feng, I want to know more about the Feng family, about grandfather, uncle, and mother. I want to integrate into the Feng family faster. Can you tell me? Of course, no problem. Granny Feng smiled. Granny will tell you what you want to know. Yi Qing Luo tilted her head. I want to know about grandfather, mother, and uncle. The Feng family has always been an enviable big family. Granny Feng's movement slowed down as she fell into memories. Among the big families that fight openly and secretly, the Feng family is like an exception. The Feng family has always been monogamous. There are no concubines fighting for the family property. After the former emperor and the acting emperor were born, they grew up in the love of the lord and madam. The relationship between the former emperor and the acting emperor has always been very good, supporting and accompanying each other, until they grew up. Yi Qing Luo's eyes lit up. Is the relationship between uncle and mother so good? Because madam passed away early, and the lord is a man after all, not so meticulous. The former emperor has always been taking care of the acting emperor, like an elder sister and mother. Naturally, the relationship between the siblings is so deep that no one can destroy it. Yi Qing Luo continued with a smile. I will also take good care of Cici like mother and uncle. Granny Feng was amused. Yi Qing Luo asked again. Then what happened later? Why did uncle say that if it wasn't something, grandfather didn't allow him to say it? Granny Feng's smile froze on her face. She hurriedly shook her head. Little miss, it's not that this old servant doesn't want to tell you, but this matter has happened too long ago. Master also doesn't want you to be sad about the past. She paused and reminded. Little miss, in front of the patriarch, it's better not to mention anything about that matter. Yi Qing Luo nodded obediently and changed the topic. Then I'll ask. The relationship between grandfather and uncle. While helping Granny Feng, she said, at first when I heard Grandpa so fiercely asking little uncle to return to the Feng family, I thought that Grandpa and little uncle had a bad relationship. But when little uncle came back, Grandpa obviously doted on little uncle. The patriarch and the acting god emperor have always interacted like this. Granny Feng chuckled. The acting divine emperor is a very serious person. After he took over the position of acting divine emperor, he has been working hard to support the entire divine realm. So the acting divine emperor is often busy dealing with the affairs of the god realm, and neglects the patriarch. The patriarch is angry and distressed. Every time he sends someone to invite the acting divine emperor back home, the acting divine emperor always has something to do. This is the first time the acting divine emperor has returned to the Feng family in hundreds of years. The correct chapter of Waste 7th Miss, Overlord, Be Gentle with Your Love, will continue to be updated in the Sea of Books Pavilion. There are no advertisements in the website, so please collect and recommend the Sea of Books Pavilion. Waste 7th Miss, Overlord, Be Gentle with Your Love. Waste 7th Miss, Overlord, Be Gentle with Your Love. The Sea of Books Pavilion is the fastest to update. Chapter 4805. Granny Feng looked at Yi Qing Luo with gentle eyes. It's all thanks to little Mississippi. Yi Qing Luo cupped her face with both hands. I'm not as good as Granny Feng said. It's all because little uncle wanted to confirm my identity, so he specially came back. That's also because of little miss, the acting god emperor came back. The more Granny Feng looked at this young lady who looked similar to the former god emperor, the more she liked her. No, they were not similar at all. The former god emperor had received the god emperor's inheritance since he was born, so he bore an extremely heavy burden. So there was always a hint of melancholy between the former god emperor's brows. Although the former god emperor would smile and be happy, but she was always so noble and elegant. She would never take off that mask of hers at any time. And the little miss in front of her, her brows were always filled with a smile that made people feel happy. That pair of long and narrow eyes, as if it was always lit with the light of hope. Her smile was always so bright, so that people could only see her. They couldn't help but smile along with her. This was the playfulness and liveliness that could never be seen on the former god emperor's face. Granny Feng's eyes were slightly red. Little miss, it's really great that you're back. It's a good thing that I'm back, don't cry. Yiqing Luo quickly stretched out her hand to wipe her tears. Just when she stretched out her hand, Yiqing Luo found that her palm was stained with black charcoal. Yiqing Luo. She immediately withdrew her hand. But a light laugh came from the door. Feng family's patriarch had woken up and came over following the fragrance. I knew you must have been busy in the kitchen early in the morning, and made yourself look like a little flower face. When Granny Feng saw the charcoal on Yiqing Luo's face, she couldn't help but laugh. Yiqing Luo used her sleeve to wipe her face. She had stained her face with her hands when she was pretending to be bashful just now. Sure enough, shyness didn't suit her. The young lady's smear. Not only did it not erase the charcoal traces on her face, instead, it made her face even more blotchy. Feng family's patriarch and Granny Feng laughed even more happily. What's the matter? Bloodbone Barbaric King also came over. When he saw Yiqing Luo, even the barbaric Bloodbone King's cold and expressionless face showed signs of cracking. The corners of the barbaric Bloodbone King's mouth twitched unnaturally. Yiqing Luo. Alright. It could make everyone happy. So be it if you're ugly. Anyway, she was good looking. Even if it was painted. Even that couldn't conceal her beauty. For the next few days, Yiqing Luo had been accompanying her maternal grandfather in the Feng residence. On the third day after Feng Liqiong left the Feng family, Feng Liqiong had returned. He also brought a team of divine guards to guard the Feng family. He even arranged for 2 groups of divine guards to protect Yiqing Luo in the dark. This posture made Feng clan master a little worried. What's wrong? What happened? Someone wants to harm Xiao Luo? Feng family lord pulled Feng Liqiong back and asked with a serious expression. Feng Liqiong's face congealed. There's no way to settle the matter with the 5 great aristocrats. It seems that someone has gotten the news of a mysterious lady appearing in the Feng family. And there's evidence that the death of the 5 great aristocrats' important members is related to our Feng family's mysterious lady, Xiao Luo. He paused for a moment. With the Divine Guards and Divine Guards' Dark Team's protection, Father, you don't need to worry. Yiqing Luo didn't have much change in her emotions. After Feng Liqiong finished speaking, she curled her pink lips and said, Chapter 4806. Uncle, why not? I go back to the lower realm first. Feng Liqiong's eyes congealed slightly. Not waiting for him to speak, Feng family patriarch stopped her. No. If those people chase you to the lower realm, how can they protect you? They won't expect me to be in the lower realm. Yiqing Luo analyzed the pros and cons. They have their eyes on the Feng family. If I am in the lower realm, it will be safer, isn't it? What's more, I came to the God realm suddenly. My brothers and sisters in the lower realm will definitely be worried about me. Yiqing Luo sighed softly. I should take the opportunity to go to the lower realm to tell them that I am safe. Qing Luo. Feng Liqiong coughed lightly. I also don't recommend you to leave the Feng family. Yiqing Luo looked at him. Feng Liqiong sighed faintly. No one knows to what extent those people have their eyes on you. If you leave the God realm, and they follow, I'm afraid, it won't just be you. You will meet with an accident. I'm afraid your brothers and sisters in the lower realm will also not be able to escape. His eyes were filled with concern as he patted Yiqing Luo's shoulder. The God's guards cannot stay in the lower realm for too long. Otherwise it would destroy the balance in the lower realm. So uncle is unable to let the God's guards accompany you back to the lower realm. The light in Yiqing Luo's eyes dimmed slightly. Feng family patriarch comforted her with heartache. Little Luo, wait for your uncle to settle the matter, then find a chance to meet your friends. Yiqing Luo pursed her pink lips. I know. I don't want them to get hurt because of me. Feng Liqiong was also distressed. Don't worry, uncle will not let the 5 aristocrats ride on your head. Uncle must make them give an explanation for this matter. I believe you. Yiqing Luo's eyes were filled with trust. Her burning gaze looked at Feng Liqiong and Feng family patriarch, then nodded at them. I know. Grandfather and little uncle are doing this for my sake. Feng family patriarch was even more distressed. Yiqing Luo looked at Bloodbone Barbarian King, suddenly stretched out her hand and held his wrist. Uncle Bone, I have a request. The barbaric Bloodbone King stared at the fair and slender little hand on his wrist, and was a little stunned. What? Uncle Bone, help me make a trip down to the lower realm and tell them about my news, so that they can be assured, all right? Yi Qingluo's charming eyes were filled with hope. The Bloodbone barbaric king frowned. No. This god promised Feng Ge to protect you. Yi Qingluo's face collapsed as she spoke in a slightly coquettish tone as she hugged Bloodbone barbaric king's arm and shook it. Uncle Bone, the only person I trust the most is you. Moreover, the World Group's brothers all know you. Go and tell them, the credibility will be higher. She raised her head and continued. I'm at the Feng Manor. Zoemo reminds you. Please add me to your collection after reading it. Read it again. It's easier to read it later. I'm not going anywhere. With Grandpa by my side and little uncle protecting me. What are you worried about? If worst comes to worst, you can just go and come back quickly. The barbaric Bloodbone King's attitude was very firm, but he couldn't resist the girl's coquettish offensive. In the end, he still agreed with a dark expression. Moreover, it was true. Leave quickly and return quickly. Therefore, after agreeing, he directly left the Feng Manor and headed down to the lower realm. He was simply the representative of action, but no one discovered it. While the barbaric Bloodbone King was acting coquettishly towards Yi Qingluo, the two of them exchanged glances. His eyes were filled with deep scheming and deep meaning. Very shallow. Very quickly. There was no way to detect it. Yi Qingluo looked at the barbaric Bloodbone King's departing figure as she sat back next to Feng family patriarch. Uncle Bone, help me pass the message and I'll be assured. I'll stay in the Feng Manor to accompany Grandpa. Chapter 4807. Feng Liqiong also looked at Bloodbone Barbarian King's departing figure. After a long time he retracted his gaze and looked at Yi Qingluo. Qingluo, stay in the Feng Manor peacefully, with Uncle around. Uncle will not let anyone bully you. The young girl's charming eyes were curved. Her pupils, which were as clear as water, rippled with an unreal light. Blinking again, the young lady's eyes were filled with trust. I have always believed in Uncle. Feng Liqiong smiled. Then she hurriedly left. Feng family's patriarch saw Yi Qingluo staring at Feng Liqiong's back. He thought she was worried about the matter with the 5 aristocrats, so he comforted her. Don't think so much, leave everything to your uncle. Yi Qingluo turned back with a smile and held the old man's arm, leaning her head on his shoulder intimately. Grandfather and uncle's relationship is really good. Is grandfather's only son. The old man's eyes were kind as he smiled lightly. He has been by your mother's side since he was young. As for me, I have not fulfilled the responsibility of a father. I always thought that with your mother taking care of him, it was enough. His gaze gradually turned gentle. Later on, after Xiao Ge passed away, I was sad, but he felt worse than me. He was depressed for a long time. He could tell. Grandfather really cared about Feng Liqiong. Very much. Family. Yi Qingluo rubbed her head on his shoulder. Grandfather still has me. I will take care of grandfather on behalf of my mother. Feng family's patriarch smiled and touched her head. My biggest wish is for you to live peacefully. Night. Yi Qingluo had just coaxed grandfather to sleep and returned to her own room. Her bed hadn't even warmed up yet. Urgent footsteps were heard outside the door. Following that, Feng Liqiong rushed over with a serious face. Qingluo, I've caught the black-clothed man who killed the important members of the 5 noble families. Yi Qingluo's gaze was fixed on him for a while. Under the moonlight, that pair of glass-like pupils seemed to be covered with a layer of thick black fog. Feng Liqiong inexplicably felt flustered. He frowned and tried to call out. Qingluo? Uncle. The young lady's clear voice, with a unique coquettish tone. She stood up. The moonlight poured down. Her fiery red dress seemed to be plated with a layer of silver light. It made the young girl look like a moonlight goddess stepping on the moon. Holy and elegant, unattainable. Feng Liqiong didn't know if she was imagining things. Why do I feel like tonight's Yi Qingluo was a little strange? However, he couldn't tell what was strange about it. In the next moment, the young girl was already in front of him. Her beautiful face was reflected in his eyes at close range. Then, little uncle, is my suspicion cleared? Feng Liqiang calmed herself down. Didn't you say that you saw that man in black? Uncle wants to invite you to take a look to see if it's that black-robed man. In case there's an imposter in the dark. He paused for a moment before explaining. According to what you said, that black-clothed man is strong enough to kill 5 important members of the 5 great aristocratic families. He shouldn't be easily captured by us, so? Yi Qingluo nodded, sure. The girl's reply was rather decisive. Her belly full of persuasion was swallowed back. Feng Liqiang was slightly stunned and immediately gave a smile. Qingluo, don't worry, uncle will definitely protect you. Chapter 4808. Feng Liqiang hurriedly said, then let's go. Yi Qingluo walked out of the room and closed the door. Suddenly, as if she had thought of something, she smiled at Feng Liqiang. It's already so late, I should greet grandfather. Father should be asleep already. Don't wake him up. Feng Liqiang smiled. Go and identify it. Uncle will send you back immediately. It won't take long. Yi Qingluo's exquisite brows didn't reveal much emotion. She didn't resist at all, and obediently followed behind Feng Liqiang. Once they left the Phoenix mansion, a horse carriage was waiting outside. Yi Qingluo boarded the carriage. The curtains of the carriage fell. It was pitch black in front of him. The carriage sped forward at a high speed, but there was no wind. Yi Qingluo straightened up slightly and stretched out her fingers to lift the curtains of the carriage. However, the 2 curtains of the car window were tightly sealed. Yi Qingluo nodded her head in interest. In the darkness, that pair of shimmering eyes was even more resplendent than before. She leaned back. Her expression was calm and indifferent. However, her pink and tender lips parted slightly as she spoke in a gentle voice. Little uncle, why does it seem like the curtain of my carriage is sealed shut? Feng Liqiang's voice could be heard from outside the carriage. It's very windy outside. Be careful not to catch a cold. Don't worry, uncle will always be by your side. Yi Qingluo responded and didn't say another word. About half an hour passed. The carriage gradually came to a halt. The curtains of the carriage were lifted. Feng Liqiang came over to support Yi Qingluo. After jumping off the carriage, Yi Qingluo discovered that this was an extremely desolate cage land. From the looks of it, it should be a place specially used to imprison the sinners of the god world. The air was filled with a thick, bloody and cold aura. Don't be afraid. Uncle is here. Feng Liqiang saw Yi Qingluo sizing up the surroundings and gave her an amiable smile. Uncle is in charge of this place. No one can hurt you. Yi Qingluo's eyes were filled with trust as she nodded her head vigorously. I know uncle will protect me. Feng Liqiang led her into the cell. Along the way, they could hear countless heart-wrenching screams. Some were insulting, some were fearful, some were begging for mercy, and so on. All kinds of voices were mixed together, especially when Feng Liqiang walked in. The people who were locked up in cages made of special materials almost madly rushed to the cages, shouting at them. It was incomparably crazy. Yi Qingluo lowered her head slightly, as though she was afraid of such an environment. However, he kept glancing left and right from the corner of his eye. He memorized the faces of the people who were screaming crazily in the cage. Not long after, Feng Liqiang brought her to a spacious, dark room. The stone door closed. Almost all the sounds outside had been isolated. A luminous pearl was placed on a stone table not far away, illuminating the entire dark room. In the dark room, there was a man in a black robe hanging on a wooden stake in front of him. His body was bound by countless iron chains. At this moment, it was hanging there lifelessly. Apart from that, there was nothing else on the stone table where the luminous pearl was placed. Feng Liqiang stretched out her hand and made a please gesture towards Yi Qingluo. Qingluo, take a look, is this the black-robed man you saw? Yi Qingluo stood on the same spot, not moving at all. Qingluo. Feng Liqiang felt a little strange as he pulled Yi Qingluo's arm. Come over and take a look, don't be afraid, uncle is here. Yiqing Luo slowly struggled free from Feng Liqiang's hand. Her brows rose slightly as her gaze fell onto that black-robed man as she slowly shook her head. No need to go over and take a look, it's not him. Chapter 4809. It's not him. Feng Liqiang's expression congealed as his brows creased tightly. When his gaze fell onto the young lady's face, his pupils constricted abruptly. The expression on his face was no longer as kind and amiable as before. Slowly it turned cold. He looked at the young lady. Under the luminous pearl's light, the young lady's porcelain white face was indifferent and calm. Her long and narrow eyes rose slightly as it curled into a mocking cold arc. The brilliance in her eyes was like a sea of stars, even more resplendent than the luminous pearl. Where was there any? The innocent look of a delicate little girl who trusted her uncle wholeheartedly? And at this moment, the young lady met Feng Liqiang's gradually cold eyes. Her pink lips curled slightly as she casually said word by word. Isn't it you? What are you talking about? Feng Liqiang's eyes changed slightly as her heart inexplicably jumped. Yiqing Luo cooperated as her pink lips curled into a faint cold arc as she repeated. The black-robed man that I saw that day, isn't it? You? Feng Liqiang went silent. She didn't speak for a long time. No denial. At this juncture, it was considered as a tacit agreement. Yiqing Luo didn't speak either. She just stood calmly at the entrance of the dark room. Dressed in a fiery red dress, in this dark room, she was like an extremely dazzling rose in full bloom. Bright and eye-catching. There wasn't much emotion on her face. Not like she was afraid. And not flustered. As though she already had a foolproof plan in her heart. Or as though she had the confidence to not fear anyone. Such a Yiqing Luo. It was the Feng Liqiang who had never seen her in the Feng family, or rather, in the God realm. After a long time, a light sneer came out from Feng Liqiang's thin lips. He laughed lightly. That handsome face revealed a cold murderous intent. How did you know? Face, it was still that face. But the entire temperament had undergone an earth-shattering change. Feng Liqiang had shed his benevolence, his amiability. From head to toe, he revealed an evil cold temperament. As though he was immersed in the darkness, filled with malevolent malevolence. Such a change did not cause the expression on the girl's face to change in the slightest. She still had a faint smile on her face, and her eyes were slightly raised. He really couldn't tell what exactly she was feeling at this moment. He seemed to be expressionless. It also seemed to be a taunt. Yiqing Luo replied nonchalantly. Why doesn't little uncle continue to pretend? That's right. Our Qing Luo is so smart, even if uncle continues to pretend, in Qing Luo's eyes. I'm afraid it's just a joke. Feng Liqiang leaned forward. An oppressive aura came crashing down. Yiqing Luo took 2 steps back. She slowly raised her eyes, her gaze as calm as water. Little uncle, you don't want to talk anymore? Feng Liqiang's eyes were like torches, like a venomous snake, tightly wrapped around the young girl. It was as if he wanted to see through the girl's soul. He wanted to know what his opponent's trump card was. However, no matter how he looked at it, the girl was always so indifferent. Feng Liqiang's eyes sunk slightly, and then moved away, withdrawing the aura that was released from her body. Qing Luo really has the demeanor of sister in the past. Looking at you really makes me think of sister. Yiqing Luo's slender white fingers slowly touched her own face, smiling sweetly. It's all thanks to this face, which is similar to mother's, that I can live till now. Little uncle's feelings for mother is really enviable. Chapter 4810. Yiqing Luo's lower lip curled up. Her eyes were half squinted without much emotion. Feng Liqiang only felt that the young lady's tone was full of sarcasm. He frowned, restrained his smile and asked sternly, When did you find out? Yiqing Luo's fingertips slid to her chin and gently knocked on it, with a calm look. It seems. I knew it from the beginning. How is that possible? Feng Liqiang's brows knitted even tighter. Where did I go wrong? Made you suspect me? Yiqing Luo chuckled. Uncle's most fatal mistake is that you are too confident. She raised her chin and explained word by word. Actually, since I came to the God realm and was sent to the 100-flower garden, I have been suspicious of the so-called acting God Emperor. Of course, at first I didn't know that the acting God Emperor was my uncle. You knew my identity long ago, and had already determined that I was from your Feng family, so you have been scheming against me from the beginning. Yi Qingluo paused for a moment. Her eyes faintly and silently looked at Feng Liqiang. I know now you want to ask me, how did I know you were scheming against me? Yi Qingluo moved her fingertips and took out a piece of jade pendant that was used to stabilize her movement in the God realm, so that she could get used to the heaven and earth qi. How could an acting God Emperor not know that I, a person from the lower realm, will fall into a coma when I reach the God realm? Then he handed me over to a God realm playboy, Ji Wuhua, because the acting God Emperor was very clear that Ji Wuhua would definitely stand on the acting God Emperor's point of view and send me to the safest 100-flower garden. And because the young lady's pink lips smiled with a bit of ridicule, her narrow eyes revealed a bit of sharp cold light. Because Ji Wuhua's room is connected to the back garden of the Feng residence. And coincidentally, the acting God Emperor had something to deal with, and asked me to stay in the God realm for a night. It was such a coincidence that I ended up staying in that room. And coincidentally, that night, that room overflowed with heaven and earth qi, causing me to open the door of the dark room and come to the Feng residence. The girl's every word. The expression on Feng Liqiang's face gradually became more and more interesting. After a while he burst into laughter. How do you know that this isn't a coincidence? Although everyone in the 100 Garden is Ji Wuhua's harem, it's impossible for no one to cultivate the profound rank, so this room is so rich in heaven and earth spirit qi. How could a profound practitioner not discover this place? Yi Qingluo indifferently tilted her head. So I can only say that all these designs and plans, the purpose is to let me return to the Feng family. After that, when I was kidnapped by the 5 aristocratic families, I could roughly guess that the person behind the scenes was the acting Divine Emperor. I didn't expose him because I wanted to figure out the purpose of the acting Divine Emperor. Therefore, when you appeared at the exit in a black robe, I already knew that you were the acting Divine Emperor. When Yi Qingluo said this, she paused slightly. She chuckled softly. Then in the Feng manner you appeared. Yi Qingluo's pink lips lightly spat out a few words. The acting Divine Emperor, my uncle, wanted to get my trust, to let me believe you unconditionally. When I found out that my uncle was the acting Divine Emperor, my heart was really very sad. Chapter 48:11. The expression on Feng Liqiang's face was very strange. The way she looked at Yi Qingluo was also very strange. Why did this young lady look so calm? She had already guessed everything, but she was able to put up a show with him calmly. What kind of psychological quality did she have to be able to do this? Obviously, she was just a 15-year-old young lady. Feng Liqiang gazed deeply at the young lady. There was a cold glint in her eyes. She seemed to be pondering. What kind of environment did Yi Qingluo grow up until now to have such a strong psychological quality? Feng Liqiang had to admit. This young lady was indeed Feng Ji's daughter. Such a stubborn temper. Exactly the same. Or perhaps, compared to Feng Ge, this young lady was even more outstanding. Feng Liqiang's throat moved. After a long while, a hoarse voice spat out a sentence. You deliberately disguised yourself to beat me at my own game. To make me self-explode, right? That's not it. The young lady's voice still had her unique sweetness, the same tone as usual, when she acted coquettishly. Uncle wants to put up a show, so I cooperated with him. Such a tone. And the young lady's brilliant smile. Lin Fan's pupils constricted slightly. He stared at her, his voice deep. You're not afraid? Of course not. Yi Qingluo shook her head smilingly. You are my uncle, and you will not really hurt me. Why should I be afraid? Feng Liqiang laughed. How can you be sure that I will not hurt you? Yi Qingluo's slender fingers touched her chin, replying seriously. Because uncle cares about grandfather. It wasn't easy for grandfather to find me. If I'm injured or something happens to me, it will definitely be a huge blow to grandfather. She smiled, her eyes curved. So uncle can't bear to see grandfather sad. The young lady's analysis made Feng Liqiong couldn't help but snort lightly. You're quite sure? Of course. I have my own trump card. Yiqing Luo was still smiling. Feng Liqiong raised her brows. Trump card? Naturally. I can't bet everything on little uncle's feelings for grandfather. I can't bet on little uncle's humanity. Yiqing Luo's words were very direct. Of course I have my own trump card. If little uncle loses his humanity, wouldn't I be in danger? Feng Liqiong laughed again, as she stared at Yiqing Luo's gaze, filled with a probing and sizing expression. What's your trump card? If I tell you now, it won't be called a trump card anymore. Yiqing Luo casually waved her hand. Under the bright light of the luminous pearl, the young lady's beauty had a hazy charm. Feng Liqiong's eyes were deep and unblinking as she stared at her. He seemed to be thinking about something. Yiqing Luo crossed her arms in front of her chest again. Now little uncle can tell me your motive? Feng Liqiong stared at her without blinking and did not answer her. There was silence for several breaths. Yiqing Luo turned around and headed towards the entrance of the dark room. The moment she moved, swoosh, that black-robed man who was originally hanging on the wooden pole dragged the thick and solid iron chain as he speedily rushed towards Yiqing Luo. The black-robed man swiftly closed in, bringing along a piercing cold wind. In an instant he blocked in front of Yiqing Luo, blocking Yiqing Luo's path. Yiqing Luo glanced at that man, paused her footsteps and turned to look at Feng Liqiong. Is little uncle going to use force on me? Chapter 48:12. Feng Liqiong glanced at the man. The black-robed man was silent for a moment. He slowly moved his body away. The iron chains that were dragged on the ground made crackling sounds in the quiet dark room. It was extremely ear-piercing. Yiqing Luo turned around once again as she pushed the dark room's door. This time, no one stopped him. But Yiqing Luo wasn't able to push that stone door open. She pushed twice. Seeing that the stone door wouldn't budge at all, he decided not to push it anymore. He turned to Feng Liqiong and said, Little uncle isn't willing to tell us what he's here for, nor is he willing to let me leave. Let's just stand here and waste time. Her pink lips curled into a sweet smile. In any case, when grandfather wakes up and realizes that I'm not in the room, he'll definitely remember that I was kidnapped by the 5 aristocratic families a few days ago. At that time, if he's provoked, you'll have to take full responsibility. Feng Liqiong's eyes darkened. Flicking her sleeve, she turned and walked back to the only stone table in the room. He shot a glance at Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo didn't hesitate as she walked over directly and sat opposite Feng Liqiong. On the table, there was a jar of wine and several upside-down wine bowls. After Yiqing Luo sat down, she directly picked up the wine bowls and poured 2 bowls of wine, placing 1 bowl in front of each of them. Come, let's chat while we drink. I'm also rather curious, to make the acting god emperor personally go down to the sea, what is it exactly? The girl finished the bowl of wine in one breath. She was so forthright that she didn't seem like a woman at all. Feng Liqiong held the bowl of wine in her hand and remained motionless. Aren't you afraid that the wine is poisoned? If it was poisonous, you would have stopped me long ago. Yiqing Luo poured another bowl of wine. If little uncle wants to kill me, there are plenty of opportunities. There's no need to go through so much trouble. Feng Liqiong chuckled again. He picked up the bowl of wine and drained it in one gulp. His gaze was fixated on the young girl without blinking. There was a momentary daze in his eyes. It seemed to be through the girl. She thought of her mother, Feng Ge. Yiqing Luo didn't open her mouth to interrupt his recollection. At this moment, Feng Liqiong thought more about her mother. Perhaps it would allow him to retain some of his humanity. If Feng Liqiong's bestial nature were to explode, she would be in danger. Even if he had a trump card, he still had to be careful. Yiqing Luo continued pouring wine and drinking. He even refilled Feng Liqiong's cup. The two of them were silent. One bowl after another, they drank 3 bowls. Feng Liqiong then put down the wine bowl. Qing Luo is so smart, you should have guessed my motive, isn't that so? I really can't guess. The young girl shook her head and propped up her chin with one hand. Little uncle thinks too highly of me. There are things that I can't guess. Feng Liqiang's gaze was fixed on the young girls. He did not beat around the bush and stated his purpose word by word. Feng. Jia. Jing. Bao. This answer. It was unexpected, but it was also expected. After all, the reason why the 5 great nobles and the black-robed man, Feng Liqiang, had gone through so much trouble was for the so-called treasure of the Feng family. But it was unexpected because Feng Liqiang was a member of the Feng family. She should also know that the so-called Feng family's treasure was just a rumor. However, Feng Liqiang truly believed in the existence of the Feng family's treasure. Then there was only one reason. Grandfather also lied to her. Or perhaps, the Feng family's treasure really existed. But even grandfather himself didn't know about it. Otherwise Feng Liqiang wouldn't have schemed in such a way just for a so-called treasure. Chapter 48:13. Yiqing Luo's thoughts whirled around. But he said, "Didn't grandfather say that this is just a rumor of the Feng family? As a Feng family member, you actually believe in such a rumor?" Feng Liqiang's gaze sunk. "Do you really think that's just a rumor?" He scoffed lightly. The fingers holding the wine cup tightened slightly. "There's no smoke without fire. If the Feng family is really clean, then there wouldn't be such a rumor." He picked up the wine jar and filled the bowl to the brim. But he wasn't in a hurry to drink, but stared at Yiqing Luo faintly. "The Feng family has a treasure, and that treasure, only you can find it." Yiqing Luo raised her brows, as she carefully thought over every word that Feng Liqiang said. She squinted her eyes slightly. An undetectable glint flashed past her eyes. "Uncle, why do you say so?" she asked. Feng Liqiang lifted the wine cup, placed it to his lips, and said word by word. "Because you are my sister's daughter." When her words fell, he drank the wine in one gulp. Immediately, it fell heavily onto the stone table. The wine cup and the stone table made a loud collision sound. The expression on his face gradually became a little twisted and strange. "Even if my Feng family's second young master is my sister's biological brother, I still can't get everything from the Feng family. She thinks of you and everything about you." Feng Liqiang suddenly hammered the stone table heavily. The expression on his face became violent. "Obviously, you are just a bastard. A bastard whose father doesn't even know who he is. What right do you have to get her approval? That treasure, only you know. Sister must have told you the whereabouts of the treasure. Qing Luo, this is what you owe uncle. Quick, tell uncle the whereabouts of the treasure, and compensate uncle." He muttered softly, as if he was possessed by a demon. Such a crazy side. She had completely lost her usual kind and elegant demeanor. Yiqing Luo didn't move, nor did she have any intention to be afraid. She just sat there quietly, allowing Feng Liqiang to vent his anger. But on the surface she looked so calm and indifferent. But in her heart, it was already a storm. Bastard. These 2 words pierced deeply into Yiqing Luo's heart. From the memories of the blood-bone barbarian king, Yiqing Luo could probably imagine her mother's melodramatic love story. His mother got pregnant before marriage. Not long after she was born, she encountered a dangerous situation. He had no choice but to hand her over to the care of the blood-bone barbarian king. From the start to the end, Yiqing Luo had not seen where her so-called father was. Why Feng Liqiang was certain that the Feng family had that treasure, and the whereabouts of the treasure must be with her? Also, what do you mean by compensation? What did she owe him? Qing Luo. Suddenly, Feng Liqiang grabbed Yiqing Luo's arm with both her hands, as she stared at her with a crazed gaze. "Uncle doesn't have any other requests, as long as you tell uncle the whereabouts of the Feng family's treasures. Everything that we have can return to how it was originally. We can pretend that nothing has happened. You are still my adorable and ignorant Qing Luo, and I will still be your little uncle." The grip on his shoulder was a little heavy. Yiqing Luo frowned slightly, but didn't struggle free, only replying in a serious tone. I don't know what you're talking about. Perhaps it was the words don't know that agitated him. Feng Liqiang suddenly stood up. The expression on his face revealed a sinister viciousness. Qing Luo, uncle doesn't want to use brute force on you. Chapter 48:14. Yi Qing Luo pursed her lips as her eyes met Feng Liqiang's crazed gaze without blinking. On the phone, she could smell the strong smell of alcohol on Feng Liqiang. But she wasn't afraid of Feng Liqiang's vicious aura, or showing a timid expression towards Feng Liqiang. She was still as calm as usual. Her expression was calm and indifferent. She allowed Feng Liqiang to tighten her grip on her shoulders, her strength increasing. The two of them just like that. There was silence for a long while. Feng Liqiang released Ji Yunshu's arms and sat down on the stone bench. His breathing was rapid. The haze on his face had not dispersed. His eyes were overflowing with vicious aura, as though he was suppressing his own emotions. Uncle, if I knew what you are talking about, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you now. Yi Qing Luo saw him calm down and spoke calmly. I knew you had a problem. If I knew about the so-called Feng family's treasure, it wouldn't be yours. Feng Liqiang pressed both hands on the stone table. Think carefully. Do you have anything special on you, or that bone lord? Is there any clue on him? Or rather, is there anything particularly deep in your memory? Feng Liqiang asked several questions consecutively. It was as if he had been possessed. Yi Qing Luo stared deeply at the crazy man in front of her, unable to describe the feeling in her heart. This man was her uncle. In fact, she did not feel much malice from her youngest uncle. Her uncle's feelings towards her grandfather was definitely not fake. He was actually a sentimental person. But his obsession had already made him unable to walk out of it. That Feng family's treasure, what on earth was it? Until Feng Liqiang stopped the barrage of questions. Yi Qing Luo then took a deep breath. I really can't recall. Perhaps the last hope had been shattered. Feng Liqiang let out a sudden roar. His hands suddenly scattered the wine jars and bowls on the table onto the ground. He was like a raging beast, roaring with the anger in his heart. You don't know. How could you not know that woman, the person she cares about the most is that beast in human form? Even if you are that beast's child, she would still care about you. When that woman died, all she thought about was that you had arranged everything for you. But she never thought about me, never. Feng Liqiang's voice was hoarse as she howled in anger. His eyes were scarlet red as he stared fiercely at Yi Qing Luo. It was as if he was going to destroy the world. A sinister murderous aura burst forth. Obviously, I am the person closest to her. I am the person with the highest talent. Why can't everything be mine? Why should I take care of you for her? That beast with a human face, the daughter of the enemy who killed my Feng family. She treasured you so much. She left everything to you. How could she not leave the opportunity of the Divine Emperor's inheritance to you? You must know where the Feng family's treasure is. You must know the Divine Emperor's inheritance. Feng Liqiang suddenly dashed towards Yi Qing Luo. One hand clasped onto Yi Qing Luo's neck. His tone was sinister and cold. Qing Luo, quickly tell your uncle where that woman hid the Feng family's treasure. As long as you get the Divine Emperor's inheritance, and become the real emperor of the Divine Emperors, you will definitely bring that woman to treat you as your own biological daughter, and treat you well. Tipping Chi 10,000,000 book coins for the 10th wave. Now she was still short of the chief of the alliance. End of this chapter. Trash 7th Young Miss. Overlord, please be gentler. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.